Hello everyone, my name is Pixel Riffs. Welcome to your Tuesday Minecraft live stream. How is everyone doing? Hope you're all very well. Hope you're having a good one. It is raining here. It is very much raining, so the ideal time to stay indoors and chop some wood. I figure today is going to be the beginning of a new tradition here on Twitch, which I should probably turn the music down for before it drowns me out. There we go. you guys ready to do some chopping? This is the start of what I'm going to call Choppin Tuesday. The idea is that every Tuesday we do some resource gathering. We chop wood. You can chop stone with a pickaxe. We could even chop some mobs with a sword if you want to, but we're going to do some chopping. That's the idea. We're going to do some chopping on Choppin Tuesday basically every week. This is resource gathering day because, I don't know if you know this, Minecraft's kind of dependent on resources. A lot of resources to gather, and there are a whole bunch that we need to get, and we can't really get any other way than manually. We can get beacon mines, so that's pretty fast to get stone. We can chop a whole bunch of wood, but that's kind of time, resource intensive and so forth. It's going to be really good for the series if we just get a routine going with gathering resources every week. So, Choppin Tuesday. I'm starting a new tradition. It's happening. We're going to make this happen. Might even get some emotes to support it in the fullness of time. But that's another story for another day. Still not partnered, by the way. Just checking in. Not a problem. Not concerned about it. But yeah, it hasn't happened. So it's silly of me to talk about emotes when there are very few emote slots available. We're still waiting on Space Tea from Joel at some point, but that's going to happen eventually. I'm not rushing the guy. He's got a lot on his plate right now, especially since we just launched the Spawn Chunks YouTube channel. And you might think that 30 episodes in seems like a strange time to start a YouTube channel, and you would be right. But we decided it was probably a good thing to do because we were missing out on a few people who might just prefer to listen to the podcast on YouTube or might only go to YouTube for their entertainment. Therefore, the Spawn Chunks podcast YouTube channel was established last night. There's not going to be any kind of video content on there except for just like the show art. But it is going to be listenable on YouTube now, so anybody who wants to tune in via YouTube, if that's what you have open in the browser or whatever, then great. If you prefer that on your mobile devices, good. You can get to the Spawn Chunks YouTube channel at youtube.com/thespawnchunks. We got enough subscribers already that we have a custom URL, which I'm very happy about. So yeah, that is that. We interviewed Grian yesterday, which was a blast. I'm sure you guys might have a few questions about that, so I'll be happy to answer a few of those in the chat. But let's say hello to a few people because I need to catch up. Talismancer, Paranor is here as well. Shane, I Hooded Mask, Will Run for Fun is here. Marchiki is here. Connie Blue. Let's see, who have I missed? Aman, hello Aman, good to see you. Do we have quality options for Aman today? Let's see. We do not. Sad times. Okay, well, hopefully you can still tune in anyway. And let's see. You can't play the Spawn Chunks in bed. Didn't really know who Green was. New to the scene. Well, welcome along. Green is a big deal in Hermitcraft circles, at least. So it was amazing to have him on the show. Desnominy and Katrina, hello, welcome along. True Purple, hi, great to see you guys. And yeah, we're gonna play some Minecraft. We're gonna do some chopping. And of course, this will give me a great chance to like chat with you guys a little bit more because I feel like on some streams, people's chat messages get missed. Sometimes I'm just concentrating too hard on whatever I'm doing. So yeah, we're going to do some chopping today. I have done a bit of work in the snapshots. Now this is something that I haven't really been able to test yet because my Bedrock install is not on the beta and the Java snapshots don't have all the villager behaviors yet, but I have an idea for what I want to do for a trading hall once 1.14 rolls around. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Chopper Tree is the new diggy hole. Trying to be that way. I'm also working on a custom tree right now, which is not looking too great right now. But I did the bottom first, and then I thought, no, we need some branches up the top, and I have run out of oak leaves for the time being, which is yet another reason we need to do some chopping. We're going to chop some leaves today with some shears. But that's going to be something to cover later on in the stream. And yeah, the links to the Spawn Chunks are getting edited in the chat. Hi, Darth Links. Welcome along, Darth Links. Hope you're having a great day. Love the streams. Also, I made the skin that I'm using. Yes, I did. I made it through the same website, actually, that I did the banner designs in today's episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. I used needcoolshoes.com. To make this skin. Mainly because Nova Skin didn't really work all that well on my computer at the time. So I decided that Need Cool Shoes was probably a better alternative. It worked better. It was running on a better version of HTML or something. I think it was like an HTML5 editor, but the other one was just kind of rubbish. I don't know anything about that stuff, though, so I'm probably wrong. But yeah, the site that I used, needcoolshoes.com, is actually pretty decent and performs well, so It's nice. Green was a good addition to Hermitcraft. Now all we need on the server is Mr. Recap voice. You know, I've been thinking about it more and more, and I feel like Hermitcraft might not be the right place for me. It's weird. Like I don't know where exactly this type of thinking is surfacing from, but it is, and I'm kind of okay with it in a way. But yeah, I don't know if I want to necessarily like talk about that for a start, because speculating about joining or not joining Hermitcraft is not the mental road you want to go down. But also, yeah, like saying that you don't think you would be good on Hermitcraft is kind of like heretical in Minecraft circles. I do have a few more oak leaves. I'll put the jungle ones in here at least. Yeah, look at this. We're a little bit low on some of these wood types, and so I feel like a Choppin Tuesday is very much in order. So we'll keep the saplings, and we'll grab all of this stuff out of here. And we'll take the saplings, and we'll take some bone meal. Heresy! Interrupted you watching the survival guide. Well, you can go back and watch the survival guide. I'm still going to be live by the time you finished, unless you're like mainlining the entire series. Thank you, though. Hope you're enjoying the series as a whole. I think it's come together pretty well so far. We're only 5 episodes away at this point from tomorrow, because I uploaded episode 95 yesterday, and it's not going to go out until tomorrow. But at that point, we're only 5 episodes away from 100. 100 episodes, almost like back-to-back, basically, because I've been doing this show daily since December at this stage. It is now March. So, yeah, I've been doing week daily episodes for that long. It's slightly nuts. Is there dye up in here? Yeah, I don't think there is. I think we need to establish a dye chest over here somewhere. And for that, we will need item frames. There we go. Let's put a dye chest or 2 here. Oh, that's endstone. Okay, that's endstone. That's purple. All right. In that case, we'll put it here then. Before there's already something in this. Yeah, we need a second dye chest in here. And then probably a flower chest underneath that. So that's what we will do. Talismancer with the 94 bits. 94 bits for 94 episodes. I like that. Thank you very much for the pride bits. Hope you and your husband are doing well. So, birch, we need oak, we need spruce, we need the jungle leaves, we've already got the jungle saplings, we've already got. Let's grab half a stack of those and half a stack of ashasha, and let's get to it. The rest of this will be bones, or bone blocks. Yeah, I think we'll go with that for now. Well, that's all the bone blocks I have, but I have more supplies for bone blocks elsewhere. And let's get to chopping. Ashasha. Oh, the tea is good today. The tea is good today. Oh, making up for the weather being so foul. Somebody, by the way, somebody asked if I'd had a haircut. I have not had a haircut. If anything, my hair needs cutting more than it did yesterday. Which is how hair works, really, isn't it? It grows. It grows over time. All right, I need to turn my volume up a little bit in the studio. Hope you guys can hear everything okay at home. I imagine you can. Nobody's complained yet. Let's start with jungle, because jungle's a nice big one. It grows unless you're bald, which I might end up being at some point, but I'm enjoying the hair while I've got it. Talismancer with a gifted sub for Aman. Enjoy your new Pixel Hype and Pixel Flip emotes. The sub hype is real. Alright, let's get up here. Hoop. Now you have emotes. Emotes gifted to you. Use them wisely. Alright, the chopping has begun. So yeah, I'm thinking we make this a thing. We chop all day. We chop the whole stream. And that way I will have lots of materials for my videos and I won't have to gather them up. And it means I get to chat to you guys. Hey, Stay Puffed is here. Welcome along. We also have the welcome surprise of Surprise Tulpa. Good to see you too. Choppin hype. Yeah, that's one of the permutations of Choppin Tuesday that I had considered. 100 bits from Stay Puffed. It me. Ho ho ho! You arrive. Welcome. Yeah, one of the variations I was considering for Choppin Tuesday is that we chop all day to royalty-free recordings of Chopin's Nocturnes. But that seems like a very Joe Hills thing to do. I think I've been watching too much Joe Hills lately. There's too much wordplay in that. What determines the local difficulty of an area? Usually how long you've been there and what difficulty setting you're playing on in the first place. Local difficulty kind of runs from like a fairly low value up to, if you're on hard, I think it can go up as far as like 5 or 6 or something. I can't remember because I haven't really looked into the mechanics of it for a while, but yeah, local difficulty is how long you've been there. I think it's also like how many mobs you've killed and that kind of stuff, and basically the value determines whether or not harder mobs spawn. So eventually on hard mode, if you stick around in some chunks for long enough, you can actually get zombies and skeletons that spawn with diamond armor with enchants. I've actually gotten a couple of pieces that way. It's a lot of fun, but yeah, they're a bit dangerous to fight. Isn't the playlist Beethoven? No, the playlist is a bunch of royalty-free classical recordings that I've gotten from museopen.org, which is an archive of royalty-free recordings, but because they're all pieces of classical music and they're all played by professional orchestras, it triggers the YouTube Content ID system anyway, because the Content ID system goes by pitch, and it will think it is somebody else's recording. So it doesn't do super well for like when I upload these to YouTube after, or potentially like the Twitch stream will get muted for people if they want to watch a VOD. So I'm not super keen on having that happen. So people after the fact can stick around and watch without any issues. What do I think about using an axe as the main weapon and keeping looting swords at the farms? Thing is, I like to get loot drops from mobs the rest of the time, so I feel like a lot of the time I would just keep my looting sword on me anyway. Like if I want to get some ender pearls, it's so much easier to get them if I have a looting sword. I don't have an enderman farm right now. I think in the fullness of time that sort of makes sense, but then swapping in and out between weapons and stuff has never been my preferred way to play. It's up to you, though. It'd be fun as a challenge, too. The Wones. An excellent name. How goes my morning/evening? It's the afternoon right now, so you're right in the middle there, and it's going very well. Thank you for asking. We launched the Spawn Chunks YouTube channel. That's gone very well. A lot of people very excited that we got to interview Grian. The weather is rubbish. I did the laundry. I've had some stuff to eat. The tea is very nice. It's all rather good. Why do cars have to be so expensive to maintain? They're dangerous pieces of machinery. If they were cheap, everybody would be getting run over all the time. Little Ducky got to head out soon. It was nice finally getting to watch. Don't worry, you can always watch the rest of it on the VOD's channel later. But I'm sure I'll see you around one of these streams one of these days. Johnny Be Good 25. Hello, hello. Welcome. What type of tea is in today's cup? Smoky Russian. It's the old favorite right now. I'm kind of just having that any opportunity I get, really. Hi, friend. You love the survival series? I love the survival series, too. And hello to you. There's a piece of wood up there. I knew I missed one. Let's get it. Hoop. And down we go. Lord Selif, or Lord Selfir? Lord Selpir? I've no idea how to say that. Hi. Glad you could make it to the stream. Welcome along. Selpir. Waiting for one more jungle sapling. Could be any of you boys. Oh, there might be one up there. There's also one up there. I'll get him. My inventory has no space to even one building block. What? If I need building blocks, all I do is pick block. It's fine. Oh no, they've summoned Zloy. They've summoned him. He appears. Speak his name and he shall appear. Three jungle saplings, really? It's got to be another one in here, hasn't there? Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. Odd number jungle saplings are always a pain, but we'll deal. We'll deal. All right. My hotbar is hogged by tools, food, shield, etc. No space to put building blocks. No. Because you see, what I do is I have all of this stuff in here, and then I go bam, and then I have building blocks. It's fine. Don't worry. I got this covered. I'm professional. The Cello Fellow. That is possibly one of the best Twitch usernames I've ever seen. Welcome to the stream. You're here to be treated like a lord for your username choices. And also your choices of instrument. I love a cello. Love a good cello. Welcome. Doubly good because there's wordplay involved. Point of Choppin Tuesday is to log on and then keep logging. Exactly. Zloy gets it. Zloy knows a good idea when he sees one. Hermitcraft recap. Good idea. Everybody subscribe to Zloy's Twitch channel while you're here, because he'll get mad because he doesn't use Twitch. Any opportunities to troll? Go and subscribe to Zloy XP on YouTube, Mixer, and anywhere else you can find him. Trombones are the best? Oh no, musical wars are happening. Somebody call Joe Hills. The musical threats have emerged in the chat. Accordion or Get Out. Pretty sure that's the follow-up to the hit movie Get Out, is Accordion or Get Out. That's the expansion pack that you can buy from all good game stores. You can subscribe to Zloy at YouTube if you want. That is how YouTube works, yes. Spent the last few days breeding and sourcing villagers trying to get a mending one. Got one with mending and infinity. Oh, join the club, my friend. Join the club. Mending and infinity villagers for life. Mendelssohn, who lives in the farmhouse, is a mending and infinity villager. They are good people. Although once you've got one infinity bow, you don't really need another one. I guess eventually I will, because eventually it'll become too expensive to repair, but that's still pretty good. Getting 2 mutually exclusive books from a villager is kind of great. Like, it sounds like a bum deal, but then you've got options, haven't you? Accordion summons Weird Al. Man, I wish Weird Al would turn up in my stream. Love that guy. He seems like a good dude as well, from what I understand. Generally speaking, good dude. Somebody puts Piccolo in the chat and my brain immediately goes to Dragon Ball Z. It's a thing. I play the Yamcha. What villager type is best for those books? Librarian. Only librarians will trade you books. And the books they get are completely random, so it's just a matter of luck. If you're breeding villagers, it's just a matter of luck. I found my mending villager. I didn't even breed him. I think we got one in the breeder later on who had a mending trade. It wasn't as good. Yamcha did get played a lot in that series. He kind of did. Little bit. Little bit. He also plays baseball, which is an odd thing for a fighter to do. But then again, I don't know. It all involves muscles, doesn't it? It's none of it is stuff I understand. Who's some other Minecraft YouTubers that I admire? Basically everybody from Hermitcraft. Trying to think who else. There's a bunch of them, really. Like, most of the folks from DV I admire in some form or another. Every musical instrument is just a less annoying version of an accordion. Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave? Yeah, I feel like, yeah, that's a good point. Bagpipes could give them a run for their money. I think bagpipes would be one. Topic of mob spawning and lighting things up, you'd suggest to add mob repellents with a small range. You can get rid of mobs, but you have to concurrently place repellents as you build. See, then it, yeah, like if they're invisible and stuff, sure. But then it becomes a different problem. And the difficulty is, I think, there are so few methods of preventing mob spawning that, like on a larger scale especially, that don't just become incredibly exploitable or a nuisance to implement or remove. And like programming completely aside here, because I know nothing about how difficult that stuff is, it's just the difficulty of setting the whole thing up in the first place, and then if you've got like an invisible solution to stuff, how do you then remove it again afterwards? If you've got glowstone in the floor, how do you remember which block has glowstone infused in it? Other than just, you know, walking around and finding out which one looks the brightest. There's a lot more thought has to go into stuff like that before a decent solution could really be implemented. I'm glad we're having the discussion, I think, but it's a difficult solution to a difficult problem to find a acceptable solution for. As you can tell by how much I'm stumbling over my words here. You like the mob beacon idea? The mob beacon idea sort of makes sense, but it also doesn't. Because then, like, Cub fans' argument against that was that everybody just starts to rush beacons at the beginning of the game. And then you've got to have beacons that extend all the way to build height every however many blocks. And, like, I really don't like having beacons everywhere because they're so obvious the entire time. If you want to have anything around your base that provides that effect, you just have to have these beams of light extending into the sky. And if you're building certain things, that just doesn't look right. You know, if you're building like a modern kind of realistic city and then you just have these enormous beams of light everywhere, like everyone's being beamed up by aliens, it just doesn't make a great deal of sense if you want realism or if you want anything that doesn't have beams of light in it and an excuse to have that, you know? Like, everything is lasers. What if you were to build in a futuristic... I mean, if you want to build something futuristic, then sure, like, you can have beacons and stuff all over the place, but my point is that there wouldn't be an option to not have beacons other than continue with the problem we have now and light stuff up. Like, the solution for it is a little more complex than that, I think. Cover them with skyscrapers. You could, but then the skyscraper still has to have a beam coming out of the top. What if I'm building a giant, like, rural farmland and there's just these giant beacons? I guess you could have, like, a spaceship coming down that, like, beams up the cows or something, but... Same problem. Like, having a giant beacon beam in the middle of everything. And, like, having the effects but being able to turn the beacon beam off would be quite nice, but I don't think they're planning on doing that. There are just certain things in Minecraft that have to happen with restrictions. And lighting is sort of one of them. Right, let's get a little bit more jungle woods while we can. There we go. What about something like the conduits but on land? I mean, it's the same thing as a beacon, really. I mean, if you want to kind of get the beacon beam argument out of the way, then yeah, that would work differently. But conduits even don't block mob spawns. They just damage mobs when they get within a very small radius around them. That 10-block radius around a conduit, I think it's 10 blocks, it might be even less, really doesn't do a whole lot until mobs swim right up to the thing. And even then, it only really affects guardians. Like, Guardians are the only thing that's gonna have a... Guardians and the Drowned, I suppose. But you don't get that many, like, mobs swimming up to you when you're in aquatic environments. There aren't many hostiles in the sea. And Guardians are in very specific areas. The Drowned are the only one that are a real problem, you know? So... Conduits even have, like, a very small solution to that problem. But having something like a conduit, something that's just kind of a floating orb. I think the main deal with stuff like that is how you tackle the balance of, like, effort required to get there in the first place. And for people on Hermitcraft who've been playing for hundreds of hours in the same world, I mean, I've been playing for hundreds of hours in this world as well, you kind of get the feeling that after they've put that much effort in, it should be something that they can tackle, but there isn't really a solution for it. Interesting to have the discussion, more than anything else. Sooner or later, there might be a solution that actually works. I think too many people disagree on it for it to really please everybody. What is the original point about beacons? You want the effect, but not the visual. No, it's not necessarily about beacons. The hypothetical that beacons could provide a radius in which mobs can't spawn. And then having to implement beacons everywhere in order to create a peaceful radius, basically, is a weird concept. And while it sounds like it would have some applications, I feel like it would be exploitable or damaging in others, and it also encourages people to rush the end game without any kind of thought for general progress and taking their time. Like, everybody's first thought is going to be, right, let's get a beacon so I can have a spawn-free base without exploring any other options first, you know? Some people were livid about combat mechanics changing, but you love the current system. Yeah, and now folks on Psycraft are livid about technical changes. So eventually we're all going to pair off into these different versions of the game where, like, technical players won't play past Minecraft 1.12. Combat players won't play past Minecraft 1.9. Some people's aesthetic is still firmly rooted in, like, beta versions of the game because they don't like the new textures. Some people, like, some builders might not even like the new textures and might not want to upgrade past 1.13 as well. So it's going to be an interesting time. We'll see if there can be an update that unites the clans later. Something like the Megatorch from mods. Yeah, I mean, that's what the Megatorch does, but I feel like on modded, the stakes are higher because... I mentioned this in the episode we talked about lighting when we talked about Cubfans video. On modded, you are making condensed versions of crafting things and resource blocks. If you're making like a quadruple compressed cobblestone or whatever, you don't want a creeper blowing it up because then you've lost basically 10 hours worth of work in an instant because you were careless. So Megatorches sort of make sense. Also, there are a lot more difficult mobs to fight in modded that can be removed with a Megatorch, which is kind of nice. Depends on the pack, obviously, but I feel like the Megatorch is sometimes justified just so you can get on with whatever it is you're doing. In mods, the progression becomes so much more of a driver of gameplay that you don't need to worry about fighting regular mobs after a certain point. Green was stuck in a really old version for a long time till he went to Hermitcraft. That's the thing. He was talking on... We talked to him yesterday on the Spawn Chunks, and he said that he could have just moved forward at any time, but he sort of stopped playing survival at a certain point, and it was just a nostalgia thing for him to go back through older versions, and it was fun to put together a server full of people who were doing the same thing. It wasn't like he couldn't just have gone to 1.13, because he could have very easily. It's not like he hasn't been building with all of the blocks from the newer versions, and look at how he's taken to all of the mechanics of 1.13, you know? Like, he's a very smart dude. He would catch up very quickly, if he even needed to. I mean, yes, they were stuck in terms of the mechanics of the world they were playing on with the Watchers and everything, but that's like that's a different thing. That's by choice, you know? That's like for the interest of the series more than anything else. Generally speaking, what changes would I like to be done to Minecraft? Personally, I would love for an update to bring more of a sense of ambience to Minecraft in terms of lighting and in terms of sounds and stuff like that. I think I really want colored lights is the go-to thing where I'm kind of blue skying what features I want for Minecraft. I think colored lights is probably quite high up on my list, but I'm a builder. I like that kind of stuff. Not even like a light source that is a different color, but like something that emits a red light or a blue light. So you could give someplace a certain atmosphere just by like what color reflected off of all of the other blocks. But then that's something that Minecraft's regular rendering engine, I feel like, might not be capable of. There's a whole lot. Just finished watching one of my great videos. One of the great ones, not one of the rubbish ones. Glad you enjoyed it, or at least you seemed to. It must have been the Woodland Mansion. It's the only great one on the channel. They wouldn't even necessarily have to be colored redstone lamps for me. Like, it would be good to be able to turn them on and off like that, and you could do really fun stuff with that. But effectively, you could have a colored lighting system by putting any light source behind, say, stained glass or something like that. In my head, I have this system which would be very exploitable, so I don't think it would ever make it into the game. But I like the idea that having a certain color of light could restrict which mobs spawned within an area. So if you lit the place up green, then only creepers could spawn. But obviously that'd completely overrule any kind of current farming mechanics we have now, so it would take some of the fun out of, like, you have to make a creeper farm using cats and stuff like that, you know? Wattle showcased a buggy data pack with colored redstone lights. Yeah, I've seen some people on the Minecraft Reddit do that, and placing one light source basically like halves your FPS on a good computer. And yeah, it's not a very elegant solution. It's not something that's like hard coded into the game. So they're doing a ton of stuff with like rendering transparent layers and stuff. And I don't know. I'm not quite sure how it's done, but it does not seem like a very well-implemented idea. It's good to showcase what it would be like, but yeah, it's not a not a particularly well-executed idea. I mean, props to whoever can make a data pack like that, because I don't have the first idea to begin with, but it's not like having it hard-coded in the game by any stretch. Oh, that was just the light block that was colored? Oh, okay. So not like the glow it gave off being like a yellow or a red or whatever. They need updated Enchanting. How would you update Enchanting? What would you do with that? That sheep is up there pretending to be a spider. I don't like it. Should persuade Tango Tech to do a what if on colored lights. Oh, give the man a break. I feel like he's been harangued about the mods he's been making for a while now. How this 8-core CPU in Minecraft maxes out one single core. I'm pretty sure Minecraft will only run on one core anyway. Like, having a multi-core CPU doesn't really have much of an effect on Minecraft, from what I understand. I've heard people chatting about it, and I don't know the first thing about how all of this stuff is distributed myself, but yeah, I think Minecraft like only runs on one core, or it will only use one core effectively to play the game. Something like that. Do I think Minecraft is dying? No. Absolutely not. Minecraft is healthier than it's been in years, and is still, like, the most played game globally. The idea that Minecraft is somehow dying is rhetoric that the internet likes to push on you to sensationalize stuff and get you to read clickbait articles. There's no truth in it. I'm wearing my jacket that I have in the game. I am. This is my my very nice, like, woolly jumper that I wear. Me. It's a little bit strange, I know, but I based the skin off of this item of clothing because I like it so much, and yeah, it just kind of went from there. Now this is like my whole brand, basically. Java does not multi-thread well. That's basically, yeah, it's what I've heard other people saying as well, so I believe it. Welcome to the Podzol factory. How many sets of the full outfit do I have? Just one. I worry about both, like, this jumper wearing out and then this mug breaking or something. But, yeah, this item of clothing... Wow, okay. Christmas tree. This item of clothing is no longer made, so, yeah, I kind of wish I could somehow get hold of another one. Got a few new follows come in today. Thank you guys for the follows. Didn't know bone blocks were a thing. They are. They're actually quite nice to build with. They're good for, like, mock Tudor builds. Like, having this as a wall texture is really nice. It looks like that old kind of wattle and daub plaster they used to have. That plus wooden beams. Like, it can take the place of wool in some builds, but farming that amount of bone blocks in the early game is not great. Minecraft is too big to fail. Even Hytale won't impact Minecraft significantly. I know, yeah, Hytale isn't out on, like, mobile device. I mean, it's not out at all, but it's not going to be released on mobile devices, at least not at launch. So I really don't see Hytale being a competitor, but that's obviously not their goal is not to, like, take down Minecraft in some kind of, like, final battle. It's weird when people get that image from anything. You know, like, you can be a competitor, but the goal is not to, like, completely destroy somebody else's game or livelihood or whatever. The problem with this Battle Royale generation thinks that everything has to be a Battle Royale, including game dev. If Hytale is free, it can turn tables. Do you think Hytale is going to be a free game? Hands up who in the chat thinks Hytale is going to be a free-to-play game. First Battle Royales were born in Minecraft, actually. No, the first Battle Royales were born in the book Battle Royale. And there were Battle Royale, like, styles of stuff before Minecraft was a thing. Like, there have been game modes in, like, real-time strategy games and stuff for a while. Like, first-person stuff, even. Like, you ever heard of a deathmatch mode? ever heard of GoldenEye? I mean, it's not like a battle royale as in like there's 100 players, but it's kind of the same thing, really. I rail against the idea that any one group or culture has claim to own anything. Like when it comes to stuff like battle royale games, kind of gamer subcultures like that, I don't think anybody really has any kind of claim to this was the first such and such, because you never know about games that were discontinued. You never know about games which, for whatever reason, faded into obscurity. Would I pay approximately 20 quid for a near match for this jumper? I don't know, actually. I don't know. I'm not certain if I want to tie myself to this outfit for the rest of time. It's something I have considered at some point, but yeah, I will pass on that for now, but thank you for the offer. People thought Artifact was going to take down Hearthstone or that Overwatch was going to take down Team Fortress 2. I don't know much about Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch. Like, I don't know much about the kind of competitive team-based shooter world. But I gather people still play both games and everyone can have fun playing different games. There's the problem, like, everyone thinks that the gaming community is so small as well. Like, everyone imagines that it's just, like, a couple of million people or something. It's enormous. I mean, video games are as big an industry at this stage as, like, film and TV. I mean, maybe not in terms of the numbers in the grand scheme of things, maybe not in terms of, like, the amount of cash that gets thrown around, but you look at AAA games now, they're just interactive films. So the idea that, you know, one game is just going to become the only thing people play, which I think is the thing you see a lot from Fortnite players, it's just that everyone is playing Fortnite. And when they say that, they're probably exaggerating for the most part, but some people believe it. Pretty sure Team Fortress 2 died well before Overwatch came out. That's the thing, like, it died for who? For you, maybe. Like, if you don't play it anymore, then sure, but there are still going to be people who play it. There's still going to be people out there with private servers. I mean, heck, people play discontinued games on private servers. There's people who still play, like, Toontown and Club Penguin and stuff. Like, they just got the code and decided to host a private server for it. Do I know what the minecart rolls thing is in the subtitles? Yeah, it happens when... I think it's something to do with a bug that happens when Minecraft loads chunks in the distance. It, like, plays that noise, or, like, the subtitle appearing is a bug because of chunk loading. Where do they get the code for Club Penguin? I don't know. They probably just, like, decompiled the client and, like, reverse engineered some of it. I don't know how it works. And yeah, emulators and stuff. Like, I've played games that I used to play as a kid on emulator just because, you know, modern PCs can't play them. I had to have, like, a DOS box installed so I could play this old RPG that I used to play in 1995. You know, that's not dead because I'm playing it. The thing about Battle Royale games is that I feel like they do have a lifespan. Because if they're exclusively a Battle Royale game and you can't have enough players in the game, then, you know, if a match can't start because there's nobody playing it, then yes, that game is dead. But the likelihood of that happening is relatively slim. And some games have kind of caught wind of the idea that they might end up having those problems, and they simulate players. They'll put in AI players, just bots that you play against, and you'd never know because they just have, like, procedurally generated usernames. Like, you know, it's sophisticated enough to simulate the idea that the game can just run forever. Hey, Sados, welcome along. Yeah, new chunks loading abandoned mineshaft carts sort of makes sense in theory, but I don't think it actually is what happens in practice. I don't think abandoned mineshafts are that frequent that it happens often enough. I could be wrong, but I get the impression that that isn't the case. Hey, what do I know? Watching the stream is going to be a little spoiler for... depends how far through the series you are. Tomorrow's episode is all about cake, if you want a spoiler. I finally made the cake. The awkward clicking, waiting for it to be officially night. Yeah, I have a habit of just hanging around beds when I know it's going to be nighttime, and if I walk a couple of blocks away, it's actually going to properly turn night. It's oak farming time. Let's get a stack of bone meal. Might have to change my jumper out. I'm kind of warm. I think the computer is running a little hot. Bear with me, folks. There we go. It's a little better. A little bit nicer. I've got the windows closed because it's been so windy, and I think it's just a little too warm. Chair stream. The shortest chair stream to date. Hey, Elkhorn, what's up? Welcome to Choppin Tuesday. Our brand new tradition here. Favorite tea? Probably just English breakfast if I had to go for like a favorite in terms of what I drink the most. Most of the time when I'm on stream, I'll drink a pot of something else. Like I've got Lao Sang Souchong in the pot right now. I'm trying to think what else we've been drinking lately. My wife drinks Red Bush a lot. I am not as big a fan as she is, but I'll have it occasionally. Prefer Irish breakfast. Not sure I've had an Irish breakfast. Of any kind. Johnny Allenson with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much for using your Twitch Prime sub here. Enjoy your Pixel Hype and Pixel Flip emotes. Welcome to the Pixels. You are one in a million. I appreciate the support. You don't love tea that much because you make lots of it for your dad. Fair play. Hot or cold tea? Definitely hot tea. I like iced tea though. I'll have it in the summer, but not super into cold tea. I'm a real Brit who's married to an American, so I can't really escape iced tea, but what you want to have is Arnold Palmer, which is half iced tea, like sweet iced tea, and half lemonade. And American lemonade rather than fizzy lemonade. You say a lemonade to a Brit and they're like, really? Not fizzy. Not talking about the carbonated kind. Twinings makes the Irish tea? Okay. Have to see if they've got any down the old shop. Is fizzy lemonade the norm for Brits? Yes, it is. We know what, like, still lemonade is, but we call it still lemonade. If you just say lemonade over here, people assume carbonation. Happy Hedonist with a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much for using your Twitch Prime sub here. Enjoy your Pixel Hype and Pixel Flip emotes. Welcome to the Pixels. You are 1 in a million. Hang on, my wife is talking downstairs. I need to close the door. She's getting her Spanish practice in. In Ireland, you have red lemonade too, as in like raspberry lemonade? Or is it like cherryade? I don't really go in for cherry-flavored stuff. I find cherry-flavored stuff gets a little bit sickly, with the exception of yogurt. I'm all about black cherry yogurt. I'll eat that right up. And actual cherries, of course, but like fruit flavor stuff is nowhere near like what actual fruit tastes like, is it? Like grape flavor sweets that you get in the States are really not grape flavor. They don't taste of grapes. They all taste like cough medicine. Some kind of weird syrup you put in it. Your mom's the same about artificial strawberry flavor. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think artificial banana is also one that people really dislike. Whatever flavors they use to simulate banana, if there's not actual banana in something. It's all done with chemicals anyway. Then again, so is everything. We're all made of chemicals, really. Hey, Zaron, what's up? British person married to an American speaking Spanish. Am I Mr. Worldwide? Isn't that Pitbull's name? Like Pitbull's nickname? I'm not Pitbull. And my wife is from California, so she has a little Spanish and Latin American heritage, so she's learning Spanish to try and make up for the fact that her grandparents, when they immigrated, whichever, both, I suppose, basically decided that they didn't want to continue teaching their kids Spanish because they had to assimilate and be American. And now she's trying to be like, hey, let me learn Spanish. We want to go to Spain at some point to visit on holiday. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I don't know any Spanish. I know like 2 or 3 phrases, but that's kind of it. Mostly just what I picked up from watching TV. I think the worst part about tree farming is just waiting for all the leaves to break, for the most part. Like having fast leaf decay or something would be really nice, but hashtag team modded, right? Your mother is German, you really wish she'd taught you German when you were really small. Yeah, growing up bilingual is kind of a superpower when you think about it. You automatically, like, know twice as much about language as other kids. I think that's what, like, if we ever have kids, she wants to do is, like, try and have us speak both languages in the household. Thanks for the skin and banner site in today's video. The skin editor is much more intuitive and user-friendly than others. I was just saying at the start of this stream, actually, that I designed my Minecraft skin on Need Cool Shoes because I found Nova skin really difficult to use on my old PC. I don't know what it was, but that site just didn't run very well. So I'm glad you find Need Cool Shoes useful. Obviously, whenever I bring up a website in an episode of Minecraft Survival Guide, like, nobody is asking me to do that. It's just naturally what I want to use. It's all the stuff that I use throughout my own gameplay. Like, I imagine none of you thought, like, that was sponsored or whatever, but sometimes people do occasionally kind of plug websites that they have some sort of interest in, and I'm like, no, I just like the way these guys did things. Always comes across as a little weird in a tutorial video when you're like, go to this website, unaffiliated with the Minecraft experience. I'm sponsored by Oak, Jungle, and Spruce Saplings. I'm sponsored by Choppin Tuesday. Gotta do some chopping. I figured it was a legit recommendation. Yeah, I hope so. I hope it came across that way. It just seems a little bit strange, you know. I've listened to so many, you know, what's the word? Not subliminal, but kind of like product placement ads now of people just like, for want of a better word, like shilling for stuff. That I get a little bit wary of how that stuff comes across and how it can sound. And I try not to inject any of that kind of tone into my recommendations for stuff, because people are cynical these days and they expect some things to just be kind of bought and paid for. You know? Timber Tuesday. Choppin Tuesday. It's mainly because I say Tuesday like it has a CH at the beginning, and so I thought Choppin Tuesday would be a good thing. And it's not just timber that we're working on as well. We can chop stone if we want to. Immediately looked at the description, hoping I would have listed the website name. On the video I did, not on the stream. Let's get some oak leaves while we're here, because we all need them for that tree. So now we're chopping leaves instead. The chopping continues. Yeah, exactly, Zaron. Chopping Tuesday. My wife always laughs whenever I talk about the London Underground, because I call it the Tube. And she says it sounds like it's spelt C-H-O-O-B. Excuse you? Minecraft just, like, randomly minimized out of nowhere? Okay. Would prefer if that didn't happen while I'm streaming. Why is the stream title not Choppin' Tuesday? Because people need to understand what the second word is. It is Choppin' Tuesday, I just say it that way instead of spelling it that way. The choppage is real. It is. Ain't gonna be having some fake chopping happening on this channel, no sir. We about the real chopping. YouTube, yeah, exactly. Ednoria, the Choppin Tuesday has already that joke's already been made, and I do actually plan on having some sort of variation on Choppin Tuesday where we play Choppin in the background. get to the chopper. Exactly. We should build a helicopter one of these days. If I end up doing a modern city project, we'll do that on a Choppin Tuesday. There we go. Get in line, Leaves. Prepping for more custom trees or just restocking? Bit of both, actually. I want more materials to work with in general, but I do need to grab some more leaves for a custom tree I'm working on over by the Blacksmiths Guild. Why are English actors able to do an American accent, but the reverse sounds like a daft parody? There are some people who do it really well. I can't remember who they are at this point, but there are definitely some folks who do it really well. Is Eddie Redmayne American? Because I think he's one of those people who, like, does very good accents other than his own, but I can't remember if he's American or British. I think, no, he's British, right? But he's done American accents and stuff before. My favorite voice Eddie Redmayne's done is his character in Jupiter Ascending, who sounds like he's just expelled all the air from his lungs before he starts to speak. I think I read that in a review before I actually saw the film, and then I saw the film because it was on Netflix, and oh my gosh, it's 100% accurate. So good. Do we ever have sub-only chat? No. I don't have enough subs. The chat never moves fast enough for it to be sub-only, and I feel like that's unfair to my audience. If I had like 1,000 people watching me at any given time and it was difficult to read, or like I was playing a game that had spoilers and I wanted to make sure that like people just didn't post spoilers in the chat, then maybe I'd consider doing sub-only stuff, but I feel like it's just locking people out of the chat experience. I think you can do separate chat rooms though, so there could be like a sub-room, but I don't know if anyone would really want to use that. I have no idea. I like my community being an inclusive place, you know? Elijah Wood as Frodo is pretty good accent. Yeah, no, that's a good example. I think that's a very good example, is Elijah Wood being a hobbit. He done well. Sean Astin's Canadian as well, and he was doing a West Country accent in that. Is he Canadian? I think he's Canadian. He's definitely not British. And he's definitely not from Cornwall or wherever. Or Yeovil. He's not from Somerset. And the two British hobbits were just using their own voices, so it was kind of great. Just popped in to say hi, your phone's on low battery, maybe you can get home before the stream ends. Run, Mr. Candy, run! Don't know what Zombie Cleo's accent is. She sounds like she's from, like, southern England somewhere. Like, the south is kind of a nebulous place because a lot of it kind of filters in from London, and unless you get out to the West Country sort of way, I feel like maybe she could be from, like, Devon or somewhere, but I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know if anybody is from Devon.
No one comes from Devon. Do you want the popcorn?
No, thank you. Okay. I was trying to work out where Zombie Cleo from Hermitcraft was from. She's British, and, like, people were like, do you know where she's from, like, regionally? And I'm like, no. She probably lives somewhere in, like, the... I mean, like, as far as where she lives is a completely different thing to, like, where she's from and what her accent is. So I have no idea. Don't think we need to speculate too much about their personal lives anyway, but still. Nothing wrong with Devon. From what I understand, it's a lovely place. Heard someone say Azuma has a posh accent, which made you laugh. He sounds posh up until a certain point, and then, yeah. There's bits and pieces that sound a little bit, I don't know. He's not like a geezer or anything, but he's...
Hello, I'm here.
Probably standard kind of southern British, vaguely middle class.
I think Americans think anyone who's British sounds posh.
Yeah,
You know
maybe.
what I mean? Unless someone is doing like a...
Full-on parody Cockney accent.
Yeah, exactly. Unless someone's doing like a Dick Van Dyke Cockney accent. They're like, they're posh, right? ever try to do an accent, like an English accent,
It goes posh.
It goes posh very quickly.
It goes posh real fast.
Yeah, that's the only. Well, because like the other ones are
Then
so
again,
much more like nuanced and specific. It's like vague posh, like it's
Yeah.
like RP posh almost. You know what I mean? And
Then occasionally you do impressions of people we hear on the bus that are all like in it gov, and you'll sometimes be like, "All right, can I have your number?" And yeah, there's
I can do that. I can do that okay.
a little bit.
I can do that okay.
A little bit.
Just from living here for the last however many years.
Yeah, you picked it up.
I part of me really wants to practice.
You've heard obnoxious teens on the bus, and you're like, right, I've got the Sussex accent dialed in.
Yeah, I want to try and practice it more, but then part of me is like, oh no, I can't. I get self-conscious, but. But I should try to practice it more just for the fun of it.
We used to drive around in your 4Runner and like try and swap accents.
Yeah, we would do the accent swap game because
Yeah,
we
when-
can't do
when
that.
we
We can't do it on a bus.
when we when we were driving over the hill from was it Gilroy to Watsonville or Watsonville to Gilroy?
Either.
I guess both, but yeah. I feel like we always used to do it when we were driving to your parents' house. Or your mum's house.
Yeah, either or. But yeah, we would swap accents. Johnny would try to do any kind of American accent he could think of, and I would do.
Be like, hi.
No. You're a geezer. Yeah.
I am a geezer.
You have to explain what a geezer
A
means.
proper diamond sunshine. No, a geezer is just like, it's kind of colloquialism for a man, but it's also like, you know, he's a stand-up bloke. He's a proper geezer. He's a good lad. You know, it sort of varies as well, because sometimes you can be a dodgy geezer, which, you know, there's usually like qualifying adverbs. Would they be adverbs? Or just adjectives? Just generally adjectives. Adverbs would be like, you know, swimmingly or whatever, right?
Yeah.
He's a swimmingly geezer.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work. Yeah, geezer is like dude.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, you can modify it.
Yeah, it's one of those words like dude where you can say it as if to be like, you know, he's a dude. It's like a noun, but yeah, and then in the same way that somebody could say, you know, sup dude, you could be like, all right, geezer, you know. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. You say old geezer, and it's like some old man that yells at kids for being on his lawn. Yeah, it's kind of the same here too, except like you've got old in there. British convos usually start with all right, geezer. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Stin knows what's up. What is the one block I want added to Minecraft? I want a lot of blocks added to Minecraft. Something with like a darker form of iron would be really nice. Like, I'm really looking forward to the smithing table in the next update, because that has a really nice look to it. But a lot of people modify their iron blocks to look more like the cauldrons and hoppers and stuff in terms of the iron color. You're doing that thing where you lean on my chair again. It's like slowly rotating me that way and twisting my spine a little bit.
I'm sorry.
But then, yeah, like a lot of people like to modify their iron blocks so they look closer to that color, because that color is a really desirable one for metal stuff. And the only places you find that are in things like anvils or cauldrons or hoppers. But then the iron block is really bright. I don't have any in here, but it's like really bright, kind of grey. And while more grey blocks doesn't seem like a good thing to have, I don't know, it feels right. It's the kind of thing I want to have around Founders Forge as signs of like industry and whatnot, but the cyan terracotta is kind of the closest I can get to having that sort of dirty, almost cast iron sort of look. I would like a block like that. Factory blocks are really good at adding stuff like that. The factory blocks mod. Is it like a mod in itself, or is it just a subset of the chisel mod? I can't remember, but still. Banner looks epic. Thanks. Yeah, I thought it came out pretty well. What are you up to?
Nothing.
Just hanging out?
Yeah.
I heard you practicing your Spanish.
You did?
Yes.
Oh no, embarrassing. I was talking to myself in Spanish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing to be embarrassed about. You're doing very well. From what I understand,
How
which
did
is
it
not
sound?
much.
Did it sound like super like awkward?
You sounded deeply Spanish.
I sounded deeply Spanish.
I don't know. I mean, it sounded fine to me. I'm not the foremost expert on Spanish in this household.
This is true. It's feeling more comfortable.
New to Minecraft, any tips? Punch trees. I'll get you started. If you want tips, I've got 94 episodes of it up on my YouTube channel, so help yourself. It depends what you want tips for. There's so much stuff to learn in this game. Read the wiki.
Want me to open a window in here?
Maybe. Yeah, it is kind of warm, and I had it closed because of the rain and the wind.
Yeah, of course.
But right now it seems to be chilling out a little bit. The sun's coming out, which is encouraging. There are.
Oh my gosh, I'm taking a picture of this. They look incredible.
Alright, some incredible pigeons happening, folks. We're missing a lot. It's Choppin' Tuesday. Gotta chop. Get to chopping. For Tuesdays, you must now make a lumber town that has a field just for tree planting. Yeah, right? We could start a forest and have like a lumber mill out there and stuff. Sun means nothing. You just had a hailstorm with full sunshine. Yeah, I can imagine that happening. Storm Gareth! That is legitimately what it's called. I find the naming of storms like loses all gravitas when you apply British names to it. It's all like Storm Dave, you know? I mean, I know Dave isn't a British name in particular, but like...
It sounds like it. Look at
Yeah.
how cute they are. They're just like swaying on top of the two tallest little branches on the tree outside.
Yeah, it's cute. I'll give you that. It's
They're
cute.
just like sitting there like, ooh, they're just a pair of them. So cute.
See, the thing about Choppin' Tuesday is you couldn't do it with Thursday. Because Choppin' Thursday doesn't have like the cha-cha ring to it, but Choppin' Tuesday, that's branding for you right there. In Germany, you currently have Storm Eberhard.
That sounds very intense to an English speaker.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, the storm. But then,
It's one of those things that might sound completely commonplace.
You're probably just like, it's like Edward or something.
Yeah.
You're just like,
It's like in Final Fantasy VI, when they were naming the protagonist, they wanted a name that sounded really kind of exotic and interesting, but they're Japanese, so they called her Tina. And she was renamed Terra for the US and like the international release because nobody thought Tina was a particularly exotic name.
That's amazing.
Tina Branford is the protagonist's actual name.
That's solid.
Yeah.
I definitely had people ask me at one point in my life when people were like giving nicknames. Like
They were
in
like,
college.
they want to call you Tina, and you were
Yeah.
like, no.
And I was like,
Nothing against people who are called Tina, but like, it's not the
not a Tina.
it's not the logical shortening of Christina to me.
Yeah. I got called Christy for a while, which I hated.
Yeah, because that in itself is like a separate name as well.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm not a Christy either.
no,
Like, you look at me, you would not, like, and then people call me Chris, but I'm like, fine, but also, like, that's
Sure.
my brother's name.
Yeah. Acceptable, but
Yeah.
allow it.
Yeah.
Paranor wants to be called Tina. It's a good choice.
Yeah, like, I think it's, I feel like now, I feel like if someone said pick between Christy and Tina, I'd probably pick Tina. Also, because I know other Christies, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it's
So
fair,
there's
it's
this
fair.
level where I'm like,
I'd-
that's not me.
I think in my life I've only known one person named Tina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not always a Tina turn for me. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. You want to dance with somebody?
That's Whitney Houston!
I know.
That's Whitney Houston!
I'm being silly.
Okay, you gotta give me a heart attack for a second. I was like, what is happening right now? We have to separate. I love you.
How to nearly divorce.
Chrissy, no. That's even worse than Christy. Chrissy.
Yeah.
Like, again, I feel like for certain people it works, but for me it would just be like, nah. Not the jam for me.
I need more oak, I think. I want to have at least like half a chest of everything at all times. And we're getting there, but I think birch is the main thing right now, because I'm using birch a lot over at Founders Forge. We need to make more of that. I like how you always respond like I'm talking to you about this stuff. You don't care.
I'm being supportive! I'm responding in the affirmative. Should I just ignore everything we say when you're talking about it?
I mean, yeah,
I'm standing right here.
sure, but like,
Yes,
If I'm talking about stuff in the game, you don't have to be like, yes, that sounds like a good plan. Like, it's all right.
I'm just being your hype man.
You goof. Confused if there should be an H. If you're just like it's weird because my actual name is Jonathan, but I just go by Johnny. I have for a while. And if you're writing Johnny, then there's no H in it. 2 N's, no H.
There's no H in Jonathan either. Well, I mean, other than the
the third part.
But no, but there are people who put like the H within the John part in Jonathan.
Yeah, but
you don't.
not in that part. No,
Yeah,
but
that's what
there's an H in the rest of it.
You're not Jonathan.
Jonathan, yeah. hands up in the chat. Anybody who gets that reference. You're my people. Every time you hear my name, you think Johnny 5. That was possibly even part of it, because I used to love Short Circuit when I was a kid. It's a good movie. I mean, it's not, but it is.
It's not.
It's a good movie when you're a child and you're like, oh, robotics is a cool thing.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm doing twisting, aren't I?
Yep. Built an auto sorter, but I always go directly to the chest to put the wood away. I mean, the auto sorter is really there for if you're putting multiple things in at once, and I'm not. I mean, I'm putting leaves in a separate chest because leaves don't auto sort. And the auto sorter is really just there as a demonstration more than anything. Like, I haven't really configured it in a way that is useful to me. So yeah, I just put the wood away. I need snacks. I don't have any snacks right now.
I offered you popcorn.
Yeah, but I'm not in the mood for popcorn, though.
What are you in the mood for? In the mood for things you don't have in the house?
Yeah. Like,
you want me to go out and get
well, I don't
something?
want you to go out and get them. I'm just saying I'm in the mood for snacks.
I could go out and get something. It's clear-ing.
Well,
It's not clear, but it's...
if you feel like getting some grapes or some M&Ms, I'm not going to argue with either of those. Don't sigh like you just offered.
I'm not sighing like...
You're like,
I'm just deciding...
why do I have to buy this man his snacks?
No. I'm not sighing in that one. I'm just deciding... I'm trying to decide, like, what the weather's going to do. I'm trying to see, like, if... I don't want to get caught out if the rain comes back because it's been so changeable today.
It's true.
Like earlier when it was, like, pouring, it came on so quickly.
It did. It's true.
I just don't want to get caught out in another one of those.
Entirely fair. But then if we all worried about this, we'd never leave the house. M&M's not a sponsor, but close enough. Oh no, Paranor. Go lay down. Hope your back feels better. Is this single player? Yes. Yes, this is very much single player.
Why is there moisture on the table? Is it water?
Oh, I probably oh no, I trampled the crops. I think I probably put the teapot down there and maybe like a little bit of tea came out. Sorry, I'm just being juvenile. Been watching too much Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Been up for a full 24, so you're going to bed leaving the stream on in the background.
Well, I can go out and get some if you want. What did you get? Grapes?
Grapes and or M&Ms, ideally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else that we need or we'll go on?
I need some milk, but I was just going to go and get that at some point anyway. But if you're going to the shop, then yeah, just grab us a pint of milk. It'd be lovely of you.
Okay. Can we get like a tall one? Or like a little pint?
Whichever. Like, yeah, as long...
What's the tall one? Quart?
It's 2 pints. Or like a... I don't think they're in litres. I can't remember. But yeah, as long as the date isn't like March 13th or something. It's the 12th today, so anything that's got like 4 days or more on it.
Okay. I was like, this quart doesn't do anything. My quart's here.
Nope.
How many years have I lived here?
Also, I'm
like a gallon?
Also, a British quart and an American quart are probably two different things because we have different pints, so...
I know. Why is that? Why do we make it so hard?
Measurements are dumb, dude. Nothing is standardized. What would I do if I got invited to Hermitcraft? Probably play on Hermitcraft. Then again, I did start this stream by saying that I'm not entirely certain Hermitcraft would be for me. It's weird because I consider my channel now. It's kind of strange. It's like it's still got that Let's Play thing, but I think a lot of the focus on my channel is in being informative, and I think a lot of focus on Hermitcraft content lately is just on entertainment, and I kind of feel like my style wouldn't really fit in. That would be my concern. And if they wanted somebody on the server who was like making kind of this is how you multiplayer kind of tutorial content, then that would sort of make sense, but I don't think I make the kind of stuff that they're looking for. So I don't think I would really be considered, you know? Gotta be the chocolate M&Ms. I kind of prefer the peanut ones. Like, I'll have chocolate every now and again, but sometimes I just like a little bit of extra stuff in there. And sometimes you get one that the peanut doesn't, like, completely fill up, and then you get way more chocolate than you're supposed to, and it's better than having a chocolate one. Say Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah, we love that show. So happy that Season 5 is on Netflix now. We've just been watching back through that. Green wasn't making that much survival before Hermitcraft. I mean, he made Evo. And he kind of made a name for himself anyway. That's the other thing, is like Grian clearly has reinvented himself several times over the course of his channel. If you look back at the stuff that he used to make and how experienced he is with several different aspects of Minecraft, and look how well he's taken to it. Like, I would not be able to have that amount of growth and change in the way I make YouTube content. I'm too much of a stick in the mud. I'm a Taurus. I stick to my comfort zone, you know? And I think it takes a mentality like Grian's to innovate a little. And I don't feel like I would bring much to the table there.
Don't undersell yourself.
Just saying. I'm happy in my niche. My niche has gotten me, like, another... my subscriber count has doubled in the last month. Like, I think I'm doing okay.
Did you say you being a Taurus is one of the reasons?
Yes. They look for all sorts of styles to have a wide range of players. Yeah, but they also look for people who can kind of fit in with some of the new stuff they want to do. And Grian's kind of open to kind of roleplay and shenanigans and stuff, and they might not be looking for somebody who's more straight-laced because they want to do more of that. It's an interesting trade-off you got to consider. How do I like doing the recap? See, that's the thing. I really enjoy doing the recap, and that's the other thing, is I don't think I would be able to continue doing the recap if I was on the server. Which is not to say the recap would be better, but it's just different. And a good kind of different. I think people also need to stop looking at Hermitcraft as like the pinnacle of what you can do as a Minecraft YouTuber. There are so many people out there who make like incredibly good content who don't need to be on Hermitcraft to achieve that. And it's nice to see all of your favorite creators in one place, but realistically speaking, that never has to happen. Where did I put the Founders Forge banners? One of them is still attached to a shield. I can't get it off. And I haven't reproduced the other one. I haven't, like, cloned the other one yet. But that is currently over the door of the Blacksmith's Guild. When and how did I meet Minecraft? I met Minecraft on a dark and stormy night in 2010. Our eyes met across a crowded room, and we knew it was destiny. Then again, I didn't play Minecraft until 2014, so that doesn't really hold up. Hermitcraft would be good for my channel. Ask not what Hermitcraft would be good for your channel, but whether your channel would be good for Hermitcraft. Kind of botched that paraphrase, but you get the point. I feel like anybody they want to join Hermitcraft at this point has to be somebody who can bring something new to the table. And I feel like it's going to be very difficult to be the person who joins Hermitcraft after Grian. You know? I feel like that person has some pretty big shoes to fill. Not that Grian is leaving, but that person would have to go through like a lot of comparisons to like, you know, well, they should add more people like Grian. Grian's really great. It's got to be a very difficult thing to reckon with, that you're always going to have that comparison. Go recover your husband talismans. That sounds good. I say I want to get birch wood. Yeah, I've got birch saplings in the shulker box. It's fine. I got this covered. It's Choppin' Tuesday. I know what I'm doing. I invented this game. Not this game, but this event. I am the author of Choppin' Tuesday. Don't be questioning my skills, my abilities. See ya. She's gone out. Let's see how quickly it starts to rain, fam. Want to see Pixel versus Green in build battle? He would stomp me. I'm not a good creative builder. I'm slow. It would take me too long. Good idea. Yeah. I think you need a raincoat just getting in and out of the house. A porch roof dripping on you. Spent 4 hours this morning trying to build a basic roof, right? Like in survival it's a whole different thing, but yeah, in creative mode, like I've done build battles and my builds look terrible. Because I'm not very good at acting under pressure and I forget where stuff is in creative mode. Like I don't know how to look up stuff quickly in creative mode. Eraserhead, love the YouTube series. It's good stuff. Thank you very much. Yeah, my wife came back in. She was like, I'm going to take my raincoat. Hey, Geki Gundalf. Welcome back. Welcome to Choppin' Tuesday. Where the name of the game is, well, Minecraft. But we choppin'. Choppin' and chatting. I think we have enough oak now. Kind of wanted to get some saplings back, but we have a ton of saplings, so plenty of oak leaves and birch oak clock. Now, birch is going to be a pain, but it's not going to be as much of a pain as oak because we clearly don't have to deal with the large oak trees in birch variants. Doesn't take quite as much bone meal with some birch saplings as well. He says having to bone meal that one a whole lot. Love the custom tree episode. Yeah, I thought that turned out really well. I am working on another custom tree over at Founders Forge. That one has not really come together quite yet, but I'm getting there. Makes you think of chopping broccoli. I have not seen that. Birch trees seem to drop saplings hardly ever. It's funny because birch leaves are supposed to have the highest sapling drop rate, but you're just minimizing the amount of space in which new leaf blocks can grow. Because, you know, there's a radius around the tree that's already taken up by leaves. So you're not going to be able to get any birch saplings out of this. That's like the equivalent of maybe 4 trees worth of leaves, maybe 5. but we've got a whole bunch of trees growing in there. So it's not the most effective way to get sapling drops, but I don't need to worry too much about saplings. It's part of what makes birch a nightmare to farm. Acacia's sort of the worst for me, though. And oak trees generating those ones with the giant amount of leaves usually means that you can get a bunch of sapling drops from that. It's like generating a giant spruce. You lose 4 saplings, but then you usually get the leaf coverage that you can get more than 4 back. Did I grow up in Britain? I did. I spent 1 year over in California when I was 11. But aside from that, my education, my upbringing was entirely over here in the UK. Don't like it when a chunk of wood hides in oak and the leaves don't decay. Yeah, it's the bane of my existence. There's always that one block of wood hiding. Tomorrow's episode is about cake, and it has some surprising revelations about cake, in fact. Got some interesting info to drop on you guys about baked goods. Vault and Folk Rav, welcome along. Good to see you guys. Now, the cake is truth. Cake is entirely truth. Also, that Portal reference is how old now? They had a sequel game about 10 years ago. Listen to the latest podcast episode, very entertaining. Thank you. Question: did you listen to it on the new Spawn Chunks YouTube channel, or do you subscribe to the podcast through a different place? Because for those of you guys who are just joining us and are not aware, the Spawn Chunks now has youtube.com/thespawnchunks, where we're going to be uploading the episodes still in audio form. There's not really going to be any kind of visual component to it. But some people said, hey, how about you upload these to YouTube, because that's where I do most of my listening. People like to just autoplay YouTube stuff in the background sometimes. Subscribe on iTunes, you'll sub to YouTube. Yeah, you don't need to worry about YouTube so much, but it is kind of nice to have if it's there, because, yeah, some people like to just queue up like a watch later playlist or something and just churn through a bunch of videos they've been meaning to watch. And if our podcast is part of that, then it's convenient for people to listen to, which is kind of what we want, really. That's how you make a podcast successful, is make it accessible to people, really. Jay Harris, you listen on Spotify? Cool. Glad to hear that the Spotify thing was a worthwhile thing to do as well, because for a while you couldn't get a podcast on Spotify without, I guess, having to submit it and get it verified and stuff. Like, I think you might have had to pay for hosting or something, but now it is no longer the case, because Spotify allows RSS feeds to be piped in. Let's grab some bones from the mob farm. Stuff's going to start falling on me in a minute. Creepers are falling on my head. Seriously, nothing? Come on, farm. Something wrong with this? Nope. There's nothing wrong with it. It was just slow. Just caught it on the wrong cycle. Pocket casts. Yeah, I use Overcast. I quite like Overcast. The Apple Podcasts app used to be good, and then they killed it. Like, the new layout for it just makes no sense. So I went with Overcast because it still does some stuff the way I want it to. I really wish the skip on Overcast was 15 seconds instead of 30, but that's my only real grouse with it. This is how you get more saplings. Place as few saplings as possible, reasonably far apart. Do I have a playlist for what? For the spawn chunks? There's a YouTube playlist now. Can you change the skip length in the settings? Maybe I changed it to 30 when I started using it and then didn't realize. I should change it back to 15. Been finding that more and more useful lately. And now we wait for all the saplings to drop. Listening on YouTube. Wylom with the Twitch Prime sub. So many Twitch Prime subs today. You guys are killing it. Thank you so much. Enjoy your Pixel Hype and Pixel Flip emotes. Welcome to the Pixels. You are 1 in a million. We are fast approaching, dare I say this, 100 subscribers? What is that? That is unheard of for folks like me. That's crazy. It's 93 right now, guys. Should I put like a sub goal on the screen somewhere? Just be like, okay, we are like 7 away. Crazy stuff. Thank you guys so much for all the support lately, by the way. Like, I don't say this enough, even though I probably say it like a couple of times every stream. That still doesn't feel like enough. It's been so great coming to these streams and having a whole bunch of you guys here, hanging out, watching, chatting along. Cake for all when I reach 100. Hey, FenFan, welcome along. Glad you could make it to the stream. Today we are chopping. Get your axe out. We're going to do some chopping. So looting or fortune tools work on getting saplings out of leaves? Fortune does. Fortune does. I don't think it increases it by much. It's like a couple of percentage points at most, but it's what I wanted to use my fortune shovels on. It's usually a good idea to use fortune tools on like dark oak and jungle saplings, because dark oak has a decent drop rate, but it can also drop apples, and you need 4 of them to make a tree. And then jungle wood suffers from that problem of having the lowest sapling drop rate, and some of the trees don't have a huge amount of leaves. Birch has a pretty high drop rate, so you don't really need to do that, but all my tools have mending right now, so I don't need to worry about it. I think I need a large-scale tree farm at some point. Back up to half a stack of saplings. That's where we need to be at, really. Plant 16 of them. Grow the rest. It'd be funny if looting worked on trees. It would. Fortune for the blocks, looting for the mobs. It's like how flame and fire aspect are do different things. They're sort of the same, but they're different enchants for different objects. Returned with tea. Excellent decision. Well done. You're part of the family now. You want to watch this as you're building a bridge, but you also want to watch the building a bridge episode? It's a dilemma. I can't make that decision for you. You must learn for yourself. Obligation to make another cup of tea as soon as you finish one. Just chain drinking at that point. Try and keep half a stack of birch saplings, because we're growing them in very close proximity and they will tend to run out. Chain drinking does not sound healthy. An IV tea line. Don't know if you want so much of that tea leaf getting in your bloodstream. Get some more fireworks too, just so this doesn't become a bit of a trek. There we go. I've got ender pearls, but I never use them for like long distance transport. They're always for building with, just getting up stuff. Fire aspect to set the trees ablaze. That's what the flint and steel is for. All right. It is a bit chilly. Mrs. Riffs returns. What snacks does she have? I didn't come for a lecture on how much tea I drink. It's not a lecture, it's an intervention. Do you get saplings from burning leaves? I don't know, actually. I mean, technically the leaf gets destroyed. I don't know if that breaks it as such. Don't know if that counts. Will McYang. Or Will MC Yang. Thank you so much for the sub. Enjoy your pixel hype and pixel flip emotes. Welcome to the pixels. You are 1 in a million. I appreciate the support. What do I play aside from Minecraft and Final Fantasy? Tetris lately. Been really getting back into Tetris. But I would play a whole bunch of stuff, except for most of the gaming I do now is focused on making stuff for my YouTube channel or streaming here on Twitch. So it is basically just Minecraft for the most part. But other stuff I have played in the past, I've played a whole bunch of things. I would like to play a more, like a wider variety of games in future, but I think for now I'm just kind of focused on this. I really want to finish Celeste, and there are a bunch of other like little pixel art indie games that have been on my wish list for a while or are still kind of waiting to come out. Strip mine for stone for said bridge while watching the stream. There you go. That sounds like a strategy. Tetris in VR, no. Although I heard Tetris Effect is a VR thing. I have never played, like, I've never owned a VR headset. My brother-in-law actually gave me the chance to play on one when we were up north visiting them. He has a VR headset and we played Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. It's my first time ever using VR. If you want to watch that, I think it's on his YouTube channel, which should be youtube.com/ASQRob, R-O-B. I assume he's changed that. X has a good approach to playing Minecraft on YouTube and other stuff like Factorio, Satisfactory on Twitch. Yeah, and then that's what I would do with Final Fantasy, except I have about 1/10 the audience Hazuma does. So, where he would have 300 people watching him play Factorio, I have 12 people watching me play Final Fantasy. And I'm not all about the numbers. It's, you know, it's good to play games where it's, you know, your enthusiasm and it's what you want to do. But lately, what I want to do is play Minecraft, and a lot more people watch when I do that, so it's kind of a no-brainer for me. Do I have a Nintendo Switch? I do not. I really wish I did, but I don't. Kind of been coveting a Switch lately. I want to play Breath of the Wild. Hi. Oh, you got both.
Yeah.
Goodness. Thank you.
For both.
I mean, I said and or, but
Yeah, and is part of that.
wasn't expecting you to bring both of them at the same time. But thank you, Mrs. Riffs, everyone.
How's things going?
It's going well.
Yeah.
6 subscribers away from 100.
Wow.
Madness, lunacy, but very much appreciated nonetheless. Choppin' Tuesday is going well.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want me to move some of the stuff off the...
I'm gonna put some of this over here for now.
Done?
Yeah.
Can we take it upstairs?
I mean, if you're going that way. Thank you.
Okay, I'll use like a very full desk or whatever.
Full desk. A few drawers short of a full desk. Lucky to have such a nice wife. I am. I really am.
I have to say hi to the nice cashier that works there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How's he doing?
All the crazy blustery weather makes it's super changeable and really affects the mood. And he was like, "You're so right about that."
Mm.
He seems like a sweet guy.
Yeah.
No fish with popcorn now.
Okay.
Where are your snacks?
There's some people in the chat asking if you can deliver M&Ms and grapes to Germany.
You pay for the flight, perhaps.
Don't be offering stuff like that. There's some crazy people in the chat who might actually do it.
I said perhaps.
Some people said that on stream at some point, if we're doing Choppin' Tuesday, I should build like a chopper.
A chopper?
As in like a helicopter.
Oh, that could be funny.
Get to the chopper.
A wooden helicopter.
Yeah. So far the stuff we can do on Choppin' Tuesday includes chopping, building a chopper, and listening to Chopin. Is like, yeah. That's the
buttons.
the list so far.
Nice.
I'm sure we'll come up with more. What game did I play most in my childhood? Probably, depends what you think of my childhood, because when I was in my teens, I played a lot of original StarCraft and Warcraft. When I was super young, I had a Sega Mega Drive, which was the console branded as the Genesis in the United States. I played a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and 3 and Knuckles. I played Sonic 1 as well, but it wasn't as good. Back in those days, games were really odd because you had to play them all in one sitting. They didn't have like save states for the longest time. Sonic 3 was the first Sonic game that really had those. And I was never like the type of player who would want to beat Sonic as fast as possible. I was never like speedrunning the levels. I was always exploring. And so I never really got to finish Sonic 2 until like I was a little bit older and had more time to myself. Like I wasn't allowed to play on the Mega Drive all night. Original Warcraft. Job's done. It was all about orcs in those days. Zog Zog. My favourite. I also played the Monkey Island games. Those were great. Had a lot of fun with the Monkey Island games. I probably didn't understand like half the jokes, but they were still pretty good. I have played my share of like the really old kind of text-based adventure style games as well. But I was pretty young for those too. Never had the patience for them. Yeah, we need more wood. The resource grind is real. Your childhood game was Super Mario 64. We never had an N64, our neighbours did. It's been well documented on this stream that I didn't get to play Ocarina of Time until I was, like, in my late 20s. When a friend gave me his GameCube and was like, you need to play this. It is the best game ever. It's alright. It's not all that great. It was probably an absolute revelation in its day, but I don't know. Why is only 720p available? Because I stream in 720p. And because affiliates don't get quality options all the time. Like, it's nothing that I have control over. It's up to Twitch. You never see what I'm eating, you just see, like... That's grapes this time. The grapes first. The M&Ms later. Never had consoles in Russia until the late 2000s. Had Chinese clones of Japanese NES and Mega Drive. Your local Canadian, hello, new to Minecraft, welcome along. Welcome to this fabulous game. Is it good? It's absolutely brilliant. Would recommend. 10 out of 10. Are my streams family friendly? Yes. That's the idea. So is my YouTube channel, if you feel like checking that out. If you're new to Minecraft and you want some, like, tips and tricks, want to know how to get started, I have a series called the Minecraft Survival Guide, which is on its 94th episode today. I make it 5 days a week, so you'll have lots of stuff to watch. I recommend starting from episode 1. But it will teach you everything from how to get started surviving your first night through to making farms for resources and exploring the world and being able to fly around and stuff like that. Everybody in the chat will tell you how good it is. Because I'm too modest to, I guess. Today, Pixel Gaming, we are Choppin. It's Choppin Tuesday. I gather all my resources. Seem like a good player. Thanks. I mean, all I've done is chop wood so far, but I'm glad that has impressed you. Right now, I'm just waiting for saplings to drop from these trees, because otherwise I will run out of birch, and I do not want to run out of birch. I chop wood with gusto and panache. Well, thank you, sir. No one chops like Gaston. What's my YouTube? It's just Pixel Riffs. I'm Pixel Riffs everywhere. Like, if you search for me on basically any social network, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, I've got Pixel Riffs pretty much everywhere. And now somebody in the chat is going to name a social network that I've never heard of and don't have. I'm not on Facebook. Don't look for me on Facebook. I'm not there. What is the Gaston thing? It's from Beauty and the Beast. He is the sort of antagonist character, I guess, from Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast has really weird character archetypes. There isn't really, like... He's... He's a big muscle-bound oaf in Beauty and the Beast. He's especially good at expectorating. Choppin' Tuesday sounds like something on the Food Network. Hey, if Food Network wants to talk to me about it, I'm open to negotiations. Like a llama. Yes, he's effectively a llama in human form. I keep planting on podzol because this is just my tree farming area. I like to plant 2x2 squares of saplings. With spruce trees, that grows a 2x2 tree, but that tree generates podzol in a large area around the base. And if I do that everywhere in my town on the regular grass, it's all going to convert to podzol. And I don't want that because I want grass. So I treat this as my tree farming area. I always come here to farm trees. And you also can't bone meal podzol accidentally to get grass. So any misclicks with the bone meal don't like waste bone meal on generating grass that I don't want. It's actually pretty effective. You can also grow giant mushrooms on here pretty well. And yeah, you don't have to worry about grass growing up around you. Like this stuff was all here from when this was grass. Watching my stream while I mine for resources in Minecraft. Happy to see you streaming again. Yeah, no problem. It's kind of funny that you're mining for resources and I'm also getting resources. It's like, it's fun, this stuff. It's like you're playing the game together, but in just two separate worlds, you know? Like on two separate TVs or something. I'm glad you guys are happy to hang out. Giant mushrooms are growable. Oh, I'm about to teach you some cool stuff. Let's go get some mushrooms and grow them. Because there's a couple of neat tricks you can do with growing mushrooms that you will need to know. So let's grab, where do we have mushrooms? Okay, red mushroom. Let's get a couple of those. Let's get a couple of brown mushrooms as well. My axe does not have silk touch. Do I have a silk touch axe anywhere? That might be something I need to make, actually. Unless I have it like in the backup gear chest anywhere? I do not. Interesting. See, I was fairly certain that I had a pickaxe that had... Oh, not a pickaxe. Had an axe that had silk touch. Never mind. We will just harvest some more mushrooms. Chopping grapes and M&Ms on the Food Network. So there are two things that you can just grow a giant mushroom on. You can plant a mushroom on it and it will always stick. Those things are podzol and mycelium. Mycelium is over there in the swamp somewhere. I can't quite see it from... Oh, there it is. Yeah, if we go over here for a second. This is mycelium, and this is the terrain that you find on mushroom islands. And you can pick it up with a silk touch tool, bring it back, and you can instantly grow giant mushrooms on it, like this. And you can harvest these blocks using silk touch, and you get the mushroom stem blocks and the mushroom cap blocks. Now, if you want to have that, like, spore texture, that kind of mushroom inside texture, you can place blocks around the outside here and then remove them, and you get that texture. So if you ever want to build with this mushroom texture, you can do that. It's just a little bit difficult. Anyway, let's hop up here and get some of the cap blocks as well, because that drops as, like, the brown mushroom texture on all sides. But you can do the same thing with that. So you can have, for example, a brown mushroom block there and there. We take that down. It's the spore texture now. Axes are the best tools for chopping down mushroom blocks, but unless you have silk touch, you will just get brown mushrooms back. They also insta-mine to the point like with slime blocks where they will break instantly, and if you just mine straight down like that, you will take full damage. So, enjoy. The other thing you can grow mushrooms on is podzol, the stuff that we have over here. The rest of the time, mushrooms need a dark environment in which to grow. So it is possible to grow them sort of on land. Let me dig up a couple of blocks here as an example. Terraform a little bit here, so I have some blocks to work with right here. If we dig a hole there, place a couple of blocks over the top like that, take that out, and place a mushroom in there. We can't do it like that because it needs more darkness on either side. I think that's okay. Nope, still not good enough. How about now? Yes, now we can place that. And now, if we break these blocks above it, the mushroom will stay there for a little while before it pops off. Like so. And then eventually, it'll realize that there's light above it, it will receive a block tick, and it will drop as an item. Before that happens, we can bone meal it a couple of times, and it becomes a giant mushroom, which we're now standing in. So if you want a quick way to make a house, that's how you do that. And once again, if you break these without a silk touch tool, you will just get it to drop lots and lots of mushrooms. So that's an effective way of farming mushrooms, but also a fun source of mushroom blocks. There you go. You've learned something. And we've found yet another thing that we can chop on Choppin' Tuesday. Speaking of which, I might make myself a silk touch axe. If I can. I don't know if I have a librarian who trades a silk touch book. I don't believe I do. So we might have to try and get that out at the enchantment table. Dragon above all. I was about to be like a bovial then for a second. It's a weird word. Just started binge watching a couple of weeks ago, sorry, and you love the channel? Found the Truly Bedrock team through me. Ah, cool. Great stuff. I think of them as the Truly Bedrock team now anyway. Let's have mushroom blocks here. And we need to come up with a silly sign for this. Nice. Okay. Negative 10 points to anybody who gets that reference. You should not have seen that movie. So, Silk Touch Axe. Wonder why there's no big Bedrock things on YouTube, and Truly Bedrock is maybe the biggest one at this moment. Yeah, Truly Bedrock is a very exciting thing, because Bedrock SMPs just don't really happen all that much. I think the main reason is that Java has much more robust server support, server architecture, than Bedrock does right now. Like, Bedrock has to be done through Realms for the most part. And yeah, there are kind of major problems with server hosting from what I understand. Custom Bedrock servers are a new thing. Yeah, and from what I gather, they're not all that great. Like, the server code is not super good. I don't know anything about it really, so I'm probably just making most of that up, but Unbreaking 3. Okay. We can get that. Do we have a Silk Touch book anywhere? I doubt it. No. We have Unbreaking as a book in here somewhere. We have Unbreaking 3, Smite 3. Smite might be really good to have on an axe. Can you have a Smite and Silk Touch axe would be kind of great. We can also get Unbreaking 3 on a book, which is great to have just in general. So let's drop off some of this stuff in here and let's focus on this axe for a minute. Works better in some situations and worse than others. Yeah, I I think Bedrock is like that in general across the board. It's just like not quite right. So many like apples and stuff in here as well. What are these? Mending, mending, mending. Okay. Of course. Mending, 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 mending. Let's see if we can get ourselves a Silk Touch enchant on an axe or a Silk Touch book. Oh, Unbreaking 3, Efficiency 4 on a book. That is possibly one of the better books you can get. What does Smite do? Does additional damage to undead mobs. Speaking of which, I hear one at the door. Hi, friend. Protection 4, also worth having. Unbreaking 3 still, okay. Loyalty 3. I've already got Loyalty on the Trident. Don't really want either of these other books. So, what else can we enchant? I don't think you can directly enchant Hose, can you? Oh, you can. Did not remember that. Unbreaking 3 on a Diamond Hoe. Never need another hoe again. Fortune 3 on the Axe, not good. Loyalty 3 on the book again? Seriously, who needs loyalty this much? Hi, have a... Excuse you. Minecraft keeps minimizing on me randomly. That's not good. Have I studied music? I have studied music. Back in the day. Long, long time ago. Don't craft a diamond hoe. Too late, I've got 2 of them, and one of them has Unbreaking 3 now. Get wrecked. I think I'll just make that Loyalty 3 book anyway, I don't care. Flame, Bane of Arthropods, Unbreaking, not good. Efficiency 4, okay. Not guaranteed to get Silk Touch. It'd probably be Fortune. Don't really want Fortune on my axe. So, put this Protection book away. I guess we're getting a Flame book. Sure. Power 4, blah, blah. Fortune 3 again. Are you serious right now? Sure, Power 4 book, why not? Impaling. Unbreaking. Again. Possible. I've got the diamonds that I could make a ton of axes, but... Impaling 4. Unbreaking 3. It's worth checking that second tier, because sometimes you can get a Silk Touch enchant on that one. Not so much this time. I think I'm just going to make an Efficiency 4 axe anyway. Okay, cool. So we got that. Now to make another diamond axe. Hi. Spawn Chunk's theme song makes you smile every time you hear it. Oh, thanks. That's sweet of you. Let's see. Unbreaking 3. Just Unbreaking 3. Fire Protection, Respiration. Unbreaking 3 again. Silk Touch! We nailed it! Good work. I'm trying to get an axe that has Silk Touch so that I can harvest mushroom blocks. Do some more chopping.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's only got Efficiency 3, but that shouldn't matter too much. There we go. Luckily, I had like 101 levels, so may as well spend them on something, right? Do I have an Efficiency 3 book in here? I do. Good. That's getting upgraded. Need mending as well. Perfect. Now, which of these anvils is the most damaged? Probably this one. Efficiency 3, mending. And there we go. Efficiency 4, Silk Touch, Unbreaking 3, mending. Mushroom chopper! Exclamation mark. Always add punctuation to your tools. Pro tip. You have a Silk Touch librarian in your trading hall and like 3 of them stashed in the basement. Silk Touch is not optional. It's true. I do not have a villager with Silk Touch yet. Or if I do, I haven't traded with them. I don't know. So now I'm just leaving my house with all these enchanted books in my inventory. This is all the junk. Okay, that's the junk chest. Fair enough. Find that book later. That's a good one. This one can go back in here. Can't get Unbreaking Force, so there's no point in combining those. Put these oak saplings away in here. Mushroom chopper! Okay. Let's farm some mushroom blocks. I do not have a lot of mushroom blocks. I could use some of them. Why don't you make it efficiency 5? No need. Efficiency 4 is fast enough. Like, the difference between efficiency 4 and 5 is virtually unnoticeable unless you're using haste 2 and mining stone. Like, I don't bother having efficiency 5 on things unless I'm haste 2 beacon mining. Like, there's really no point otherwise. I know. Do you want me to explain it to you, or are you not bothered?
No, I'm in
Minecraft has its own jargon, really. See, efficiency 4, perfectly fine. Beautiful. The way I say inventory is what got you to keep watching. It's funny because a lot of people seem to have, like, seem to have been weirded out by that, and I'm like, it's just a pronunciation thing. Like, people pronounce stuff differently. I feel like if anything, it makes more sense because when you say invent, you don't say invent. He invented something, you know? So it's like your inventory, where you invent things. That's probably not the root of it. Like, ultimately, that's not how the word came to be, maybe, but...
I don't know the etymology of invent.
Yeah.
But I have a fun fact of all language.
Sure. Do you want to talk about it at a volume that people can hear? Mrs. Riffs has a fun fact.
Emerge from the floor. I'm sitting over here. No, you were talking about how the stress is different. You don't say invent.
Yeah.
It's because it's a verb.
Uh-huh.
You stress. It's not. I mean, like in most things in English, if there's a rule, there's like 400 exceptions to the rule.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes when there's words like that, like when you say, like, convert versus convert, it's because convert is the verb and convert is the noun.
Sure.
Like, you convert a convert. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's the pattern tends to be that if there's a noun, the stress is on the first syllable, and then when it's verbed, it's the stress is in a second or later syllable.
But there's also a regional difference between that because, like, yeah, there's a
pattern. And
yeah.
Like I said, if because English is so varied and spoken in so many different places, if there's a rule for it, there's going to be a ton of exceptions. But that does tend to be something about
just like an American English version and like 7 different regional British versions, and yeah,
there's a bunch of different options there, and that's not necessarily, again, like a hard and fast rule. It's just it's a pattern that happens linguistically that you see repeated throughout different grammatical structures, regardless of region, in English.
No, that's not happening.
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
It doesn't like there's certain patterns that are replicated in certain regions of English that aren't in others. You know what I mean? Like each regional version of the language has its own grammatical structures and rules. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's not like when people say like speak correct English, like there's a lot of political and socio-political kind of weight to the idea of speaking like what correct English is. And who gets to decide what correctness is, because there are so many different ways to speak a language, and if you're being understood, you're speaking it.
Yeah.
You know, pretty correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a matter of like who you're trying to be understood by, and yeah, that's when you're younger, you tend to be a little bit you go through at least I did, and most like nerdy like language people go through a period of being very prescriptivist about language and being like, these are the rules, and you're dangling modifiers, and getting grumpy about things, and then
you split an infinitive. How could you?
And then you unclench and realize, like, okay, you don't need to be so uptight about this.
All right, Captain Holt.
Yeah, yeah, it gets a little bit intense, and you realize it's not a useful perspective to have because it's totally reactionary and strange, and language is a tool, and it's a changing tool, and it's a tool that's modified in a million different ways every single day by everyone who speaks the language. And there's so many different languages that the idea of having one specific way that is quote unquote correct is very bizarre and silly, because it's pointless to try and mandate and regulate some of that stuff. So
stand back and admire this.
So yeah, that's a very big mushroom. But yeah, so that's my promotion of like descriptivist language, like comprehension, I guess.
Russian language has next to no variation across 200 million people. Also, isn't all your handwriting the same? Like, you have to learn to write in a very specific way, and so everybody's handwriting kind of looks the same. My buddy Dan, like, studied Russian at university, and he was saying in... What were we watching? I think it was in Night Watch. We were watching Night Watch, and he said it was really weird to see somebody's handwriting, because that's exactly how, like, his Russian exchange students' handwriting looked.
Yeah.
It was like they'd written something on a note.
This is the interesting thing, though. Sorry, I'm eating M&Ms. I've noticed that people of my grandma's generation have a certain style of writing.
Yeah, it's like when you learn
taught a certain way.
to write cursive or whatever, and that's just how everybody writes.
Even like the block capitals that she did and like
Yeah.
the older generation do. There's a very specific style
Yeah.
that I noticed of a very specific era of like this is when they were taught to write. And then like my brother, who's a little bit younger than me, wasn't really taught cursive and handwriting in school. And people his age and younger also were kind of developing a very specific way of writing.
Yeah.
Completely separate from that, you know, in a way that's like, it's very weird because no one taught them to write that way, because if they were taught to write a specific way, like the way I was taught to write and form letters, it has a very different style and it's slightly more finicky, whereas theirs is always like the fewest amount of strokes, but it's not like cursive where everything's connected. They're all separate. It feels to me very unnatural because it's not the way I was taught to write, but it's really interesting to see people who are like 25 and younger. Most of them have like indications of this style of handwriting when they write, when they print, you know what I mean? Not necessarily if they're writing in cursive, but if they're writing in like, you know, printed letters. You see like little indications of this style of forming letters, and I'm like, what, that's so interesting, because no one told you to write like that, because that's not how anyone is taught to write letters, but they're all making those letters in the same way. It's very interesting. I don't know.
That's true. Someone's asking how I shift-click everything into a chest. You shift and you double-click, and it moves all stacks of the same item into a chest. Mad Gamer XD with a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much for using your Twitch Prime sub here. Welcome to the Pixels. You are 1 in a million. Enjoy your Pixel Hype and Pixel Flip emotes, and I appreciate the support, buddy. That is, I think, 95 subscribers. Guys, we are 5 away from having 100 subscribers on this channel. That is so absurd. Thank you guys so much for the support lately. It has been unreal. I want to grow some more giant mushrooms over in the swamp. When we start building Old Town, I kind of want there to be a lot of big mushrooms around the place. It seems like a nice little addition to that area, you know? Have some people, like, living in mushrooms. Mrs. Riffs, do you prefer California or Britain? Different things for different reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your family's in California, so you can't, like, completely disavow California.
No, and I love California.
California's great.
But also, like, there's
I always love it when you go back there.
I really love about Britain.
Yeah. And you chose to live here
Yeah,
primarily because I was here, but also...
I wouldn't have
like,
chose to live here if I didn't like it
Yeah.
on some level.
Hate Britain.
No, there are definitely things about Britain that make me kind of go, what?
Yeah. Yeah, but there are also things
But
about...
also things that make me go, oh yes, and then, you know, this is more comfortable for me for whatever reason. And there's other things about the States and California that I'm like, why? So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into it.
It's funny, when the electrician was over doing the wiring or like testing the wires the other day,
There's better in Britain.
I was talking to him about the fact that you were over here and that you said that the pace of life here was a lot more chill, and he went, "Really? It must be so bad in America then?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Because it's pretty hectic over here some days," and I was like, "Not as hectic as America, at least."
It's a different sort of.
Yeah.
It's a different sort of vibe. It's really hard to explain unless
Yeah.
you like.
The American work ethic is like you don't get paid holiday and stuff.
It's really intense, yeah. It's hard to explain unless you like lived, and not like you wouldn't understand kind of way, but like no, like when you're living in a space and you see the kind of pace of life and how people tend to go day to day and what
and the fact that you're
is prioritized in terms of daily living.
Unless you're in a certain like city environment or you live really close to your place of work, you basically have to own a car, and there's just so many kind of different things. Whereas over here, I've existed basically my entire life in the UK. I can drive, but I've never owned a car. I've rented a car a couple of times. I borrowed a car a couple of times, but it's just a completely different atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that alone is a different enough thing. If you explain to some Americans that you don't own a car, they look at you like you're crazy.
Like, but how?
They're like, how do you get around? It's like, we have a pretty decent public transport system.
Yeah.
Like, we complain about the buses, but they run. Is this a philosophy class with Minecraft in the foreground? More or less, yeah.
I saw someone mention conlanging, which I was assuming is like constructed language, like Tolkien-esque stuff. I'm interested in it. I'm not good at it. I didn't study linguistics. I like linguistics, but I didn't study it.
Our language, Tiger. Our language.
I'm not. I have friends who studied it. But I did not formally study linguistics anyway. I did study literature, English literature, and philosophy, so that bleeds into all of that.
Someone's asking what part of California. Do you want to answer that?
The Bay Area, although people who are like truly from the Bay Area are
true Bayers
are like, you're from the South Bay, get away. And I'm like,
the Monterey Bay Area.
Well, that's the thing. So like, my family is from like the East Bay, and then I was born in the South Bay, and then half the time people are like, South Bay doesn't count. I'm like, but it's the South. They're like, no. And then then we moved when I was younger to the Monterey Bay area.
Seriously, what is it with that spot there and just growing giant mushrooms?
UCSC graduate. Hey, banana slugs.
Banana slugs. I love that that's the mascot.
My cousin graduated from UCSC. I have
a hoodie.
A banana slug hoodie sitting on the floor of our bedroom right now. Yeah, that's my family.
You gotta love people gatekeeping the area you live, right?
No, it's just that kind of like in group, but it's true. There's certain elements of the Bay that are different if you're not like really in the kind of super metropolitan area.
Yeah.
It's a different vibe. Like I completely get it. When someone's like, nah, and I'm like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's totally. But it also is funny.
It's like
because we're all in the South Bay, like, well, we're part too. Like it's a funny kind of in joke of the people who live in the region. So, yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. America is designed around. Yeah, it's true.
What am I doing?
In Russia, almost everyone has a car, but Russian roads are not designed around it. That must be interesting.
Almost everybody has a dash cam too, because apparently insurance fraud is really bad over there. Farming shrooms, basically, yes. It's Choppin Tuesday, so we're chopping. Get on board.
Also, I saw someone. North California is much more laid back. It is. We're a little more chill than Southern California. No, why? But we are.
Everybody in Southern California got that work hustle.
I mean, we got
They're all out there making movies.
Yeah.
They're all trying to get jobs in TV.
I saw someone said something about like you don't miss the crazy politics back in the States. Oh wait, you live in Britain. And I was like, don't want to get into it, but big mood. It's very much just like anytime I look at the news in either country.
The apocalypse is a big mood right now.
Yeah. Most cities and states are stressful and tend to be full of surly people. I mean, it can be, yeah. It's just a different vibe. I mean, some people say that about London as well. It's like a little bit. There's that London hustle. You get to London and you're like, why am I walking twice as fast as I normally do?
Yeah. People got to get on the tube.
It's really, yeah.
I was saying
it's just that again. It's that kind of like urban area, kind of like
I was talking
Intense.
about the name Choppin Tuesday earlier, and I said how you like it when I say tube because it sounds like it's
Tube.
spelled with a CHOO.
A tube. Sorry.
Yeah. There it is.
What? I can't say it. The pun doesn't work for me. It's like Choppin Tuesday.
There you go.
Tuesday.
Still sounds better than Thursday.
It does, yeah.
It'd be like Choppin Thursday.
Choppin Tuesday.
Doesn't work like that. Although I'm tempted to do that now. I kind of want to have a Thursday stream.
A Thursday.
That's when the chair streams. That's what it is. It's Thursday. The chair.
In Russia, we have traffic jams in every city with over 1 million people. Luckily, there's not many of them. We like to spread. Yeah, you got a lot of land to work with, so you can grow out. But that's the thing. In the States, it's kind of the same. But things are really spread out, and because of that, cities are designed in a really wide, sort of sprawling kind of way. Whereas here, things are built a lot more closely. But then it means you can get to places easier because things are like the usage of space is just different. You know?
Yep.
It's very interesting.
A chopping chappy. Look at that chappy doing his chopping.
Tube. It does sound like tube.
Yep.
Tube. It's so fun to say. It makes me giggle.
It may.
There's certain O sounds that I can't quite get.
Yeah.
Doing the accent though. That's like the hardest part is the vowel sounds, I think. Of like, I feel like American English vowels are very weird and very like back in the mouth for no reason. Like,
Yeah.
they're very like aw.
Like aw.
Like everything is like oh my god. Oh my god. But yeah, like a lot of our vowels are really back in the throat, and like the position of the tongue is like way further back than a lot of other languages. And so when I'm like practicing Spanish, I have to be like, okay, wait, like put your tongue in the front of your mouth. Stop swallowing your tongue. You know what I mean? And like it's also really interesting with like this like learning another language. I heard someone say that like the sound that someone makes when they're thinking tends to be indicative of like the neutral position in their tongue in their mouth because of the language they speak. And so like Americans tend to be like a lot, like it's very like the jaws dropped and the sound is very back in the throat and the bottom of the mouth, like whereas like if I'm speaking Spanish, I have to like force myself if I'm thinking and I say something and I'm trying to figure out what I want to say, I have to say you know, like like just to keep my mouth more forward, and like it completely changes the way you hold your mouth, but it helps you actually form the words, because if you're saying something in Spanish and then you go like your mouth is not in the right position to start speaking with a normal accent or like any sort of comfortable accent. It's interesting.
I'm going to take a break. I'm going to grab myself a glass of water, and I will see you guys in a few minutes. Hello. I'm back. People in the chat talking about breaking bones. I think somebody asked a question about that, but yeah, I've never broken a bone. Have you broken anything? You broke like a finger.
Fingers.
Yeah. I have a scar on my head from where I like nosedived the pavement when I was a little kid. That's as close as I've got to seriously breaking anything. Sorry, folks. I just need to get a glass of water and hydrate. Sometimes, you know, if you don't like, everyone always says like stay hydrated, but like my brain starts to get a little bit foggy when I haven't had some water to drink. So just need to clear my head a little bit. Tried to swim in pavement. I did. It did not work. I was quite young. I think it's actually one of my first memories is like being in pain and crying a whole bunch and then pulling up to the hospital. Which is weird because like you hit your head and then you start making memories. Time Master cheered 10 bits saying gonna be gone by the time you read this, I think, but take this anyways. Also, do you support Comic Relief? I have not directly supported Comic Relief. I'm in favor of the cause, but I haven't in previous years really had enough disposable income to donate much to charity. That is one of the things I want to change this year. I want to start giving to charity more. And there's a bunch of stuff I plan to do around that. Doing charity streams and stuff would be kind of cool. But my brother-in-law actually, Ask Rob, ASQ Rob, is a streamer for the Extra Life streaming group Quack Attack, and he does some charity streams from time to time. He has like a donation link on his page and stuff. So I recommend going and checking out him whenever he streams. He streams like semi-regularly, but he's in film school right now, so he's got a lot of stuff to catch up with. I don't have a Streamlabs bot that like I want to set a timer for it to tell me to drink, and like whenever that stay hydrated bot comes in the chat, I usually ban it because I don't want people telling me when I need to do things because I can listen to my own body. I'm a responsible adult. Like having something tell me to drink and like having to do it at the time just seems ridiculous to me. I keep a glass of water. I drink when I need to. I take breaks. I'm not worried about it, but on this occasion, I felt like I needed to step away and get something to drink. That's all there is to it. Normally, I start every stream with a cup of tea, and that sees me through for the first, like, but we've already been streaming for like 2.5 hours, so that's fine. Anyway, let's get back to Choppin. Got some birch here. Don't want no robots telling me what to do. That's how Terminator starts. You broke your friend's thumb trying to pass him a basketball. Basketballs are vicious, man. Like you pass one of those things wrong, you split someone's head open. Then again, I come from a country that has cricket, and cricket balls are not something you want to take to the face. Believe me. Same with baseballs, I guess. But cricket balls are made out of like hard. Is it plastic? Is it resin? I don't know what it is. I'm also juggling M&Ms here. It's a lot of chatting and chopping. It is. It's how we do here. Chopping Tuesday. We get it done. Hey, Braindead Cirky. Welcome along. Glad you could make it to today's stream. Also applies to axe throwing. Well, yeah, if you want to practice that as a sport, go right ahead. Need some more bones. Swear the rules for cricket are made up on the spot. I mean, they probably were at one point. After that, I think they had to be formalized so that somebody could win. There we go. A lot of them bones. Spawn Chunks was good with Grian. Thank you. I think he was a great guest. It was, I don't know, it felt kind of more introspective and thoughtful than I expected somehow, but I'm not sure what I was expecting in a way. I figure he wasn't going to bring his, like, video-making energy as such, but he brought a different kind of energy to the show, and it was really interesting to hear him talk about his creative process and what he would do differently with Minecraft and stuff. Anybody who has not listened to that episode 30 of the Spawn Chunks, recommend checking it out. It was a lot of fun. It was good talking to him before and after the show as well, and just chatting to him about YouTube stuff in general. there's some stuff like that. We try not to talk too much about like the business of YouTube on the podcast because it's a Minecraft podcast, not a YouTube creator podcast, even though those two communities do tend to intersect a whole bunch. But yeah, it's always interesting hearing about somebody's behind-the-scenes stuff, you know? Not anything I want to share with you guys, of course. Like, I'm fine saying that we did talk about some stuff, but I don't want to be, like, sharing anything that we said in private to each other or whatever. You were the one who asked about broken bones because you broke your wrist. The paracetamol tasted awful, and you wanted to know how many people had the same type of experience. How strong is the paracetamol you have to take for a broken wrist? Never played with a cricket before? Yeah, I feel like if an actual cricket was involved in a game of cricket, it would be a very different game. Am I planning anything special for episode 100 of the Survival Guide? Kind of, yeah. I've talked about this on a previous episode, but I think a special guest and I, and it's not Grian before anybody asks, even though we've just been talking about Grian. Yeah, a special guest and I are basically going to swap single-player worlds, and we're going to probably host them on a server and give each other tours. So it'll be like half my world, half their world, that kind of thing. That's the idea. Some folks might have heard me talk about this a little bit on previous streams, but I'm not going to go into the details now. Does Grian do a good job at ignoring YouTube comments and not getting his feelings hurt or his head inflated? I think so. He seems like a guy who's very much about his own creative process and not letting stuff get in the way of that, if that makes sense. Like, he says in the podcast, in fact, like, I don't compromise on creativity. He talks a little bit about his videos being kind of a when it's done kind of thing, and he doesn't have an upload schedule. And that's very much an attitude of somebody who isn't going to let stuff in the comments sway him particularly. But he seems like a very down-to-earth guy. Obviously, YouTube is his business, so he knows what he's doing when it comes to that stuff, but he doesn't seem like he's got any kind of... I don't know, ego is the wrong word. I don't think he has anything like an ego where he thinks of himself as particularly important. I mean, the first thing he said on the show was basically like, you make me sound really more important than I am. And I'm like, no, dude, you're here as a guest. You're here for our 30th episode, and we're really excited to interview you. You can feel important. It's okay. He's a great dude, though. It's been really, really nice chatting to him. A god complex. Yeah, that's definitely something Grian does not have. I feel like anybody with cats can't have a god complex because there's always somebody above you, you know? You always feel like you're the you're allowed to live in the household by the cats. When am I going to start back up and record more DV? When the momentum for the Minecraft Survival Guide dies off, or potentially when 1.14 rolls around, if there's anything in that I feel like would be better explored in multiplayer. But right now I'm having so much fun just learning the aspects of the game that I do not get to explore much on multiplayer servers, like being able to build technical farms and things, because I'd never built an iron farm before the Minecraft Survival Guide. I've been playing this game for nearly 5 years. Never built an iron farm or a gold farm before, because I never needed to, because somebody on the server always built it like day 3 or whatever, and I never got around to it. But I think now I've done some of that stuff, I'm expanding my technical skill set a little bit, and this whole series has provided the opportunity for me to do that and not have to, you know, not be able to run away from it. And I really like that. So I feel like Minecraft Survival Guide has been really good for me as well as for my audience and for my channel. Doing 2 survival worlds side by side is really difficult, because it's the same grind for both things. So you end up having to divide your time up, and then it feels like you're getting half as much done in both worlds, which really doesn't make any mathematical sense. Which is why I tend to focus all or nothing on the Survival Guide, and that's what I'm doing right now. Am I getting close to Twitch Partner? I've applied, and I do not know when I will hear back. It usually takes them about 7 days to apply, to kind of process partner applications, because presumably they get a lot of them. So in the meantime, the best thing I can do is keep streaming, keep, like, broadcasting for you guys, and enjoy myself, really. And if I don't get approved for Twitch Partner, I'm still an affiliate. They're not going to take that away. So we're still going to be able to do the stuff we do here. Just partnership would make it better, but it's not going to get any worse. Opmaster, thanks for stopping by. Have a good day. Hope your wrist feels better soon. Was expecting some cat chat between me and Green. Yeah, I feel like I've been out of the cat game for a while, guys. I haven't had recent cat experience other than the ones that occasionally stroll around my backyard. So it was, yeah. Sort of a nostalgic thing in a way, hearing him talk about his cats and being like, yep, I know the feeling, man. I know the feeling. It's funny because in the cat documentary we were talking about, the one that he did with Mumbo, or that Mumbo did with him, I guess. I'm not sure which way around that collaboration works, but he talks about one of his cats doing a thing where he kind of opens his mouth and goes like that and just kind of like looks around. Our cats used to do that. Apparently cats do that when they're like, they smell something they don't recognize and they're kind of like tasting the smell a little bit. And yeah, that's absolutely something that our cats used to do. I'm pretty sure all cats do it. Song sounds like RuneScape music. This is Mellow High from the Minecraft Volume Beta. It's one of the music discs. Do we plan on getting a new pet one day? It totally depends. Like, we would like to get a cat probably at some point, but it's sort of, on the one hand, we still aren't really over our cats because we loved our cats so much, but also we don't want to rush into something like that because this is a new house. We haven't had pets here, and we're so used to the place being without all of the extra stuff that you need when you have a pet around, all of the pet infrastructure, like having a cat flap if the cat wants to go out and having space to put the litter box and things like that. The best place for us to put our litter box would be in there's a utility room kind of attached to the side of the house, like a little extension. But there is a solid like UPVC door between the kitchen and that room, and so we'd probably have to have a cat flap for them to go through just to get out there and use the litter box. There's also a ton of other stuff out there. There isn't really much room for the litter box, and that's where we keep all of the tools and stuff for the garden, so we'd have to make sure that was like safe and the cats wouldn't knock anything over on themselves, and there's just all kinds of stuff that we'd have to take into account. Plus, we like not having fur everywhere and having to clean it up every day, which is kind of what we had to do in our old flat. Our old flat had carpets everywhere, but it still very much made it a problem for cleaning up constantly because the cats would just leave hair everywhere. Could I record a guide containing some kind of dangerous and risky adventure, e.g. cave rushing? I've been talking about doing like a few more caving guides at some point, yeah, but that's the thing, like it's all risky and dangerous until you know how to make it safe. And a lot of my personal gameplay style is just playing stuff safe. It'd be kind of fun to go caving with night vision at some point and just not use torches at all. But then that tends to get a little dicey here and there. How long do I plan to stream? Probably for another hour. We've still got some chopping to do. Spent 10 years living with cats, finding out you're highly allergic. Fishes don't leave hair everywhere. It's true. You can't really cuddle fish, though. Or you can, but they don't like it. You can cuddle a tuna. They are pretty big, aren't they? I'm always amazed by how big the fish are that you buy kind of commercially. Like salmon are freaking huge. You ever seen a salmon before, guys? It's big. Big fish. And then you're like, sardines. always really funny when you have like a can of tuna or like a salmon fillet or something, and you don't get any perspective on how big the actual thing it's come from is. Like a chicken, you just see a chicken, and you're like, okay, that's how big the bird was. But salmon, big fish. Tuna pretty big. Tuna pretty big. Can I play Choppin while chopping? You are the third person to make that joke. Congratulations. Could play Mendelssohn. I think I have one Mendelssohn. Is it like a quartet or something in here? And I have Brahms, Ravel. I have one Chopin ballad. Schubert. Let's go back to the start of the Minecraft soundtrack. There we go. Do I know Zloy XP? I know of him. I've heard of him. I haven't met him ever, if that's what you're asking. You'll be shopping while I'm chopping. Shopping Tuesday. Buying some shoes. Chopping mall. I think that's probably going to have to be it for Birch. Birch is so slow to farm. No wonder El Mango is trying to find birch farming methods. Seriously, all that time. This much birch. We didn't even get more saplings out of that than we started with, I don't think. So, yeah, about that. What next? Dark oak. I've been using a lot of dark oak. We might as well farm that. It's faster to farm than everything else. So that's kind of a good thing. Why is birch farming slow? Because you only get a 1x1 tree. It's not very tall. And you have to wait for saplings to drop before you can get more. Whereas with dark oak trees, you spend that much bone meal. Obviously, you're spending saplings as well. But you chop down each of these trees, you probably get a stack or so from each. Or maybe like 50 something, I think it is. Depending on the size of the tree. Whereas from a single birch tree, you get 7 maximum, I think. 7 or 8 maximum. See, right now I have 40 dark oak logs. That would require me to cut down 5 or 6 birch trees. So the return on your saplings isn't very good. You have to bone meal each of them individually instead of growing a 2x2, which all grows at the same time. Spruce, jungle, and dark oak are the best trees to farm. Worth it for the stripped birch logs. Exactly. That's why I wanted to gather it in the first place. Just make Ilmango's birch tree farm. Yes, I'll just casually make an Ilmango farm here on the stream that I've done no research for and haven't introduced for the tutorial series that I make. Now, often the solution is a simple one, but it's something that I have to take a little bit seriously is the progression in this series and not to like leap ahead without introducing some of the concepts to my audience as I go. So when I complain about birch farming being slow, I'm in it to complain. I'm not expecting to make it any faster right now. I just want to tell you that it's slow. Hey, Mr. Candy, you're back. Welcome. Glad you made it home safely. Just be Il Mango, problem solved, right? Make a redstone contraption that turns me into Il Mango. Did the time change over there in Britain, or does it stay the same year round? It changes, but it hasn't done yet. It changes on March 31st, I believe. Will I make some epic mob farm sometime? Yeah, I expect so. The thing is, it's weird, but I don't know why everybody likes watching other people build Il Mango's farms when they could just watch Il Mango. I mean, maybe they like a certain person's style of presentation or whatever. They like seeing people rebuild it, but I always wonder why people ask me to build stuff Il Mango has done when they could just watch me do things my own way. Why do you guys do that? If you're the kind of person who thinks that everyone should build like a specific type of farm just because it's the best one, is that it? Just because like you want to see me get the most drops imaginable, or is there something else that you get out of it? I'm curious. You don't have the time. Why are you watching streams then? What are you rushing off to do? I'm genuinely curious. Like, please don't think I'm coming across as like sarcastic about this or something, but it just, I like seeing people do stuff their own way, so it's slightly baffling to me that anybody who wants to see Il Mango's tree farm built doesn't just go and watch Il Mango build it. Hopefully we never have to change the time again in a few years. I have heard the argument that daylight savings time is ultimately pointless. And I can kind of see that. The last few people I've heard talk about it say that, you know, it's supposed to be for farmers, but farmers don't even like it. I'm like, who is it for then? I have to say, it was kind of nice when I was working in an office in town when the time change happened and suddenly, you know, it was light when I would go to work instead of being dark and stuff like that. There's little things like that that really make a difference, but evidently, like, the agricultural community doesn't care. The cows don't understand clocks. You watch the video, but you want to see it being done in survival. Right, okay. That makes a little bit more sense. That's kind of part of the reason I have my series, is because a lot of tutorials out there are in creative mode, but seeing it built in survival kind of makes it more feasible for people, kind of makes it a little bit more accessible. I can see that. More than one way to skin a farm. That's the other thing. Like, decorating it is a completely different kettle of fish. But yes, I'm not technically gifted enough to be able to modify some of the stuff that those technical folks do. And a lot of the time you can't, because everything has been optimized. I feel like I should de-optimize some things. I should find out how to build stuff and make it less efficient, and then build that. Just build stuff that is, like, slower yield. Sort of what I did with the zombie pigman farm, I guess. Which is going quite well, by the way. Do I have an AFK fish farm? I do, I haven't used it. I demonstrated it for a video, I never use it. Because there's not really anything that I would get from it that I can't already get some other way. Except for Nautilus shells, and I've got a few of those stashed away. I don't have any need for conduits right now. What program do I use to make chiptunes? I used Logic Pro 8 at the time. And since then, I haven't really got an equivalent of that on my newer Mac because Logic Pro 8 worked in, was it like OS Tiger or Snow Leopard? I think Snow Leopard was the last one it worked on, which is like 10.6, and they're now on 10.14. So if anything, if I got back into it, I'd probably want to buy some other different software. Probably the best way to work out how to optimize stuff, paradoxically. Just work out what makes it slow and then remove that bit. Could you get a chair name poll eventually? I don't know, I guess. Sure. ZF already has a lock on the less efficient farm market. I did like the chicken farm they did on Hermitcraft where they had a column of water propelling chickens into the air and then they all get shot with flame arrows. That was fun. Favorite audio program is Ableton. Yeah, I've heard of Ableton being used for stuff like that. I've never used it myself. People use it for live stuff though, don't they? They kind of loop stuff through Ableton a lot. Got a solution for all wood farming. It gives a lot of wood apart from the dark oak. The dark oak is probably one of the better ones. Seagulls are going crazy outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but they're like, oh, we can come out now. It's not... The rain isn't going to knock us out of the sky. I think so. If you can't see them, they're probably over here. Sure. It's getting cold in here. Still farming oaks. I was farming regular oak before. It's dark oak now. But I think I have enough dark oak for the minute. Apparently. I don't know. People in the chat want to name it. It does take over the stream for like, you know, a few minutes at a time, occasionally. I'm pretty sure that was floated as a suggestion quite early. I'll have something a bit more original. Mm-hmm. That is the...
So cold, I'm gonna put some clothes on.
That is the follow-up to the successful rap song. Or the rock music, yeah. Whatever it's like. It's she sings in English. It's all rock music or whatever. CN, thank you for the host. Birch ones?
Oh, now you're doing whatever these are.
Yep. When you ran out of survival guide, you went to watch some others. Now you have to hop back into the survival guide soon. Yeah, I tend to make videos pretty fast. Lately, I have been churning them out. Mr. Moneybags, you have missed a whole lot of chopping. That's what we're doing on today's stream. We are chopping. We have chopped some oak. We have chopped some birch. We've chopped some spruce. We've chopped some jungle. Now we're on the dark oak. We also took a break to make a silk touch axe and chop some mushrooms. Welcome to the concept of Choppin' Tuesday. It's our new tradition. We're going to make it a thing. Every Tuesday, we come here, we chop. No excuses. I don't want to see anybody slacking. It's like leg day. You can't skip it. Choppin' Tuesday is an essential part of your week. On this channel, we do not skimp on the chopping. Have we chopped any pork yet? We have not. To chop some veggies. Somebody said Choppin' Tuesday sounded like something that should be on the Food Network. I kind of agree. I said if the Food Network wants to get in touch, then they can. To make dinner, should you make backed potatoes or breaded cod? What are backed potatoes, please?
I'm assuming they mean baked. Backed potatoes.
The potato with two backs. Othello? Anybody Othello? No? All right. It's like when you get a potato that's a funny shape. French toast, maybe. Do I cook? I do cook. I went right through that creeper. Hi, friend. Get off my bed. There we go. Baked potatoes. There it is.
I would say the cod. Yeah, that just sounds nice.
Can you not have...
Fish, but I think potatoes could be really good.
Having cod as like an alternative to baked potato kind of implies you're having one or the other and there are no other accompaniments. Just having a baked fish. I don't know. We had some oven baked cod the other day and it was a little dry. I don't know, maybe I just didn't like prepare it super well. We smothered it in butter and stuff, but like yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not a cod expert, so I feel like baked potatoes gets my vote, really. Depends what you have on the baked potato as well. If you're having a jacket potato with some beans, oh, that sounds good right now. Judicial application of bacon and beans. 10 points in the chat to anyone who gets that reference. Typing on a laptop balanced on a pile of DVDs, so typos are happening. Sounds like an excellent desk. Barbecued fish with rock-fisted potato stew. There you go. Throw in that oglop you found on the Condipati mountain path. Good work. Hey, back from class. How was class? Did you learn things? I hope so. It's kind of the point of class. Bangs and mash. Cheesy mash with bacon. Oh, now you're talking. Now you're speaking my language.
I haven't done my mash in a long time, have I?
You've not. This is true facts.
Do you make potatoes?
Yes.
Do you have any parsnips?
No.
Do you make carrots?
Yes.
Oh. Do you want me to do a carrot and potato mash?
I mean, if you wanna.
I guess I don't know what we're gonna put with it, but
Hmm. Alternatively, if you want to take some of the minced lamb out of the freezer, I can do couscous tonight.
very nice. Quantum harmonic oscillation. What is that?
That's
Sounds amazing.
that's above my pay grade.
It's going to emerge again. That sounds awesome.
Gonna harmonically oscillate your way off the floor
Yep.
to find out what this is. Call it fish and chips because baby fish are called fries, and fries is just a weird name. I mean, yeah. Probably. I did not know that's what baby fish were called.
I guess there was a hot fuzz.
Nice. You get 10 points. I haven't decided what the points are for yet, but you get them. Call it fish and chips because it's fish and chips. Yeah, well, the fish part is kind of self-explanatory. That's what the animals are called. And chips are chips of potato. You know, you chip a bit off a potato and that's what you cook. You cut them into chips, like, yeah. They're like chips of rock, except we can't eat rocks, so we eat potatoes instead. They're as close as you can get to edible rocks, really, when you think about it. Anyone ever thought about that? How close a potato is to a rock? That's pretty close, you know? Like, they're one step away from becoming a mineral anyway. Just a rock with feelers. Rocks with eyes. That's what they are. I mean, yeah, edible rock. Should start advertising potatoes that way at the supermarket. UK, we have chips and fries. Yeah, we have the best of both worlds here.
You can't get proper chips in the US. You can get. I mean, people make them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they mean like chip shop chips,
Yeah.
probably not. But also,
Chip shop chips are kind of
chips are deeply overrated.
kind of overrated.
I will
Depending
say that
on
as an American, you don't have to say it as a British person.
depending on
Fine.
depending on where you get them, because I'm not a fan of like the limp, pale, soggy chip. You know, I like my chips to have a little bit of golden brown in them, a little bit of crunch.
Yeah.
And chip shop chips are more often than not like
They're so big.
they're big. They're just kind of like wet potatoey things. They're not really very good.
They're like sodden.
And
Oil.
when I make chips at home, I like bake them on a tray in some oil and some herbs and stuff, and I bake them until they're golden brown and they're crispy at the edges and they're really good. Don't need to deep fry that. Then again, if you do chips at home and you get like those oven chips, but then you deep fry them at home, they're always better. So I don't know how chip shops have lasted this long. We clearly have better solutions.
Everything is a rock if you disassociate from the physical plane enough.
I do that a lot. That's why I play Minecraft so much. Fish and chip shop chips are amazing in Yorkshire anyway. Well, fair enough. Should go back to Yorkshire.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I feel like they're the same everywhere. But I also don't eat tons of things from chip shops. I do like battered sausage.
Also, the place to get chips in the place to get fish in Yorkshire is the Leeds-Liverpool Canal. So, not sure the fish is so great. Although, no, I don't know. If you travel far enough abroad, you'll probably find some fish in Yorkshire somewhere. Chip shop chips were a major treat when you were a kid. Yeah, because when you're a kid, you got no taste. When I was a kid, all I did was eat Haribo. And to be fair, I do that now, but at least I know I'm doing it. Like, for my own sort of indulgence, rather than like, this is just something I eat, right?
Well, when you're a kid, you have simple tastes.
Yeah.
And, like, there's something to be said for some of the simple things that are enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I can understand, like, the niche they fill for some people. And
Yeah.
I understand how they hit the spot sometimes, but for me, I feel like there's just a ton of other ways to have good potato.
Yeah. I feel like
They're not my top
potatoes
10.
potatoes are a diverse vegetable, and there are better chips. Like you can get better chips than your average chippy. Then again, I have probably not had like there's so many places that are like the best fish and chips in the UK, and it just feels like it's, you know, a lot of the times they'll put like the quotation marks around best as well, which does not inspire me with confidence. Have like 1,000% less tolerance for sweets than you did when you were a kid. I have probably slightly less tolerance for them. I still buy them quite frequently because I'm reveling in the fact that I can. When you're a kid, it's like you have such a small budget to spend on sugary things that you're like, now I'm an adult, I will buy lots of sweets. And then typically you don't because you're responsible about your teeth and stuff. But then, yeah, I still get, you know, I get my peanut M&Ms.
Yeah.
It happens.
I think you have like you can handle like less sweet things. You know what I mean? Like fewer.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like the quantity that you
Yeah.
can consume in one sitting is
I
far lower.
I also used to really hate like bitter tasting things like mushrooms and olives, and now I really love those. I quite like wine. There's a variety of things that I'm now way more into than I was when I was a kid, and I think that's probably development of the palate and all that kind of stuff. Carrying in, I'm good. Any news about affiliateness? We are still affiliated here. No news about partnership, but yeah, no news is good news right now. We will see. We'll see how all of this stuff turns out.
Jay Harris is confused about the chips, crisps, fries thing.
Really?
I think he's just confused about who's calling what. Like, what is a chip and what is a...
It's quite straightforward.
If you're American... Sorry, you want to do it? I'm taking over the stream. I'm doing the thing.
Go for it.
No.
Do your thing. Explain the American side of things first, and then I'll do it the British way.
Okay. What we think of as potato chips, like in a bag that are like crunchy, are called crisps here because they're crispy. And then what we think of as fries, I guess, are technically fries here as
They're
well.
fries. Yeah, they're
the
just
skinny ones.
they're thin cut.
The thin kind of.
Yeah, we will
fry.
quite happily call them fries because the majority of places you get those are like fast food places like McDonald's, which we treat as American. Now, fries are originally Belgian, but America doesn't know that because they think they invented them, and they're called French fries, right? They speak French in Belgium, but then people get mad at the French and start calling them freedom fries, and it's this whole thing, and you're like, guys, you did not invent this. You like they brought potatoes back from America originally, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah, potatoes are from,
so,
from like the North American
and then we did
South American.
and then we did good things with them and we sent them back. Seems to be the case.
But yeah.
Okay, why does it keep doing that? Why does Minecraft keep minimizing in the middle of my junk? I think Snaz is doing something weird in the background.
But yeah, chips in the UK are like a chunkier fry, basically. They're a thicker cut potato. And they're cooked in the same way.
People are saying I should get you a microphone.
Microphone somewhere.
Yeah, it's not attached right now.
It involves setting up the microphone.
You just have to talk louder. Mayo and chips. Mayo and chips is a good combo. We don't have that often. I feel like I don't immediately gravitate to mayo when we have chips, but that's not out of a particular dislike of it. French fries. How about turkey? Every country calls it by whatever other country. It's like the cor anglais, which is French for English horn, but every other country calls it the English horn apart from English, where it's called the cor anglais, which is French for English horn. It's just a weird feedback loop, which is also incidentally what a cor anglais sounds like.
Turkey is named after India. Wait, what? Turkey isn't like
The bird turkey.
bird? Turkey?
I can't remember what the Russian for turkey is.
I'm so confused now. I'm like, wait, what? Really?
Dan sang that at me once. I can't remember what turkey is in Russian. I know that kuritsa is chicken, but I don't know what turkey was. Where did I get the new builds done at Founders Forge in front of the Blacksmiths Guild? That over there was done on the last stream on Sunday. So, yeah, if you go to my Pixel VOD's channel and find the thumbnail with, like, the pink, blurry kind of mess in the background that's just called Building a City, that is where we built those three houses. Any Americanisms I've picked up from you or vice versa? I don't think I've picked anything up from specifically you. I think I pick up stuff from, like, American media that we watch more than anything.
Maybe.
You pick up stuff from British language quite a lot. British idioms. Yeah, no, exactly. But like you picked up stuff you haven't like necessarily completely lost all sense of American phraseology, but your parents laugh at you when you say things like "give it a go."
Yeah. Or when I say I'm gonna nip to the loo, they like that one.
Yep.
They find that one to be very funny.
Nip to the loo.
It's in Deka. Is it like the animal or the country is called that? I'm very interested by this. I don't know why, but I'm just like, what? I'm assuming you mean the food, the animal.
Give it a go is used in the US. Maybe it's a regional thing. It's just one of those odd regional phrases that, for whatever reason, tickles them because they don't hear it very often. All right, we're done with dark oak for now. Let's move on to acacia. Again, with the 13 apples. 7 parrots. I quite frequently come back to telling people about how I had to explain what a handful of beans was to your dad.
Oh.
And how weird that was, because like he gave it with no context at first, and I was like, well, a handful of beans is just a handful of beans.
Yeah.
What's weird about it? What circumstances has this happened in? And it was like he was watching the Tour de France, and somebody was attacking from behind the people in front. That's where when you are behind something, you are usually trying to move forward in front of the people in front. But yeah, the commentator said something about he's attacking with a handful of beans. It's like he was going to throw them at the guy or something. Acacia is worse than birch to harvest. It sort of is. Because, yeah, there's leaves in amongst all of this other stuff, but I think I'm going to get the shears out and just cut my way through some of that. Because acacia leaves are going to look different once the texture update happens, so we can look forward to that. Bucket is pronounced bouquet. It's hyacinth bouquet. Acacia's your least favorite tree to harvest, but your favorite to build with. That makes sense. It's a good texture. I haven't really used it much around here, and I kind of don't know what I should use it on, because you feel like with this being an industrial style town, it's going to have a little bit more of this kind of grey wood, but I sort of want to reserve it for effects, like if a tree is kind of blackened with ash from the ravine. That's kind of where I want it to be. Also, it's funny, I was watching... Who was I watching stream? Was it Jancy? I was watching Jancy stream recently, and somebody in his chat recommended making a custom tree, but with the mushroom stem texture instead of using birch. And I thought that was a great idea, and I kind of want to do that.
Yeah, it actually is a closer, I guess, like, analog to the way birchwood actually looks, doesn't it? That lighter color.
It's kind of meant to be, yeah. I mean, birchwood is... like this. And
Yeah.
that's what...
That's pretty close, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's what a silver birch kind of looks like, with the peeling sections of the bark and everything. But yeah, birch is weird, and birch is one of those blocks that, because it doesn't look particularly good as like the frame of a house, like you can't really build with it like that because it looks strange in that context. People don't tend to use it all that much, and there's sort of this like in-joke within Minecraft builders that birch really isn't worth having. And recently stripped birch has kind of overruled that, because stripped birch is a good looking block. But then I think a lot of the time people just like figure birch isn't worth farming to begin with. But then people are trying to find alternatives for it, and you go to mushroom stems, which are actually kind of difficult to farm. If I ever considered a vanilla tree decapitator data pack, I might, but I kind of want to keep this series as close to the default vanilla experience as possible. Plus, if all of this was happening really fast, then the stream would probably be shorter, and I wouldn't be able to chat to the chat as much, because this time around, I think I've actually been able to keep on top of things and talk to people a little bit more, whereas I've definitely had a couple of people come into my comments and say, I was in the stream the other day and you were ignoring me. And I never try and ignore people. Like, if ignoring kind of makes it sound like I am willfully avoiding answering their question. Most of the time I just don't see it because I'm concentrating on playing the game, and the chat's usually going too fast. And it's not like I'm going to let that stuff get to me as such, but I do want to make sure that you guys feel appreciated, and that if you have any like questions and stuff that you want to chat about, then we actually get to some of that. Hey, Degenerate, welcome along. We see that you read us, don't worry. I know, like, you guys aren't worried, because you guys are the cool ones. You guys don't mind me chopping trees for 4 hours, but this is going to be helpful for the series in the long run, because we will have a lot of resources that I can build with. We can get to the fun tutorial stuff in videos and on future streams. On your server, you're in a birch forest. The challenge is to build a whole village using birch as the main element. You have a new appreciation for birch now. Let me tell you as well, birch in the new texture update, specifically birch planks, which I was not a fan of before, looking pretty good. Birch logs are still not my favorite thing to build with, and I don't think they ever will be. But I like stripped birch a whole lot. And I think birch planks are definitely a better... They're like a less sickly color in the new update. They have a bit more kind of... I want to say like just strength of color in a weird sort of way. Like that's not really a term that makes any sense artistically or whatever.
You mean like saturation?
And it's not saturation though. It's like there's a warmth to it, I guess, maybe. It just looks a little bit different. Like let me break down some of these birch logs I have as an example, because we'll put them just on the plains grass here. And this current birch texture is a little... It's cold, it's pale, and if you get up close to it, there's just this kind of like greeny yellowishness to it in sections, and there's a slight kind of pink section, but it's not very nice looking to build in large quantities, especially compared to wood like oak. But then if you change the textures and you put on the version 3.3, which shouldn't take too long to load up, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's got a different kind of thing to it. It's got these pale kind of silvery sections here, and I feel like it's probably even using the same colors, but it's using them differently. And it's got that more sort of 3D shading to it in that way that really makes the planks pop out. And I like that more. And oh look, acacia has different leaf textures. It's a miracle. So yeah, I like that. I like that. New acacia log texture doesn't look terrible either. I feel like what they've done with the logs is really take the contrast down, which is a problem for some other blocks, but with the logs it really works for me. Because the streaks in the acacia bark were just so black that it just really didn't quite feel natural, you know? This feels like a much more natural wood texture to me. And them having different types of leaf is a very good change, because basically every tree aside from jungle and spruce uses the same leaf texture, just different leaf colors. And in the case of dark oak and acacia, they're not even a different color. It's just oak leaves again and again, which is a weird oversight. You add a different tree, you put all of this work into it, you give it its own leaves as far as like the code goes, but it's a complete carbon copy of oak leaves. It's really weird that that even happened in the first place. Is that it, or are there more logs lurking? You cannot escape the chops. Difficult to see when it's dark. Thing is, I can't set the tree on fire. Fire spread is off.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I can set this zombie on fire, though. Not with any of the tools I've got, but... if I had a flint and steel on me. You hear birch and you appear. Hey, Mythical Sausage, what's up? It's new birch, though. New birch, nice. New birch has some good stuff about it. Old birch, not so much.
Someone was saying that they liked having spawn chunks on YouTube.
Good.
To listen to while they were cooking.
I'm glad you like the spawn chunks on YouTube. The Spawn Chunks is in other places too, but we understand that some people do like to just play their videos and podcasts and all kinds of stuff and music through YouTube now. People don't necessarily like to leave YouTube as a website to go and find media in other places. Sometimes it's just convenient for you, I guess. And we are quite happy to have a YouTube channel now. I feel like it's also an easier sell. I put the Grian episode of the Spawn Chunks on the Hermitcraft recap community page, and I feel like we probably got more people immediately going to that YouTube video because it's a YouTube video they can watch than would like go to our website and listen to the episode there, or like go and subscribe through their favorite podcast app, because some of them necessarily might not have a podcast app that they like. And so walking them through that whole process is a lot harder than saying, oh, hey, here's a YouTube video with the podcast that you can listen to. So while we obviously like having the infrastructure of an RSS feed that people can listen to the podcast through, it really does make sense to just have it on YouTube. And it's a weird surprise to me that we hadn't thought of that before. But then when we set the whole thing up, we were just thinking of it as like, okay, this is a podcast we're going to do. So we put it in the podcast places. YouTube, it's not really a podcast place, foremost in my mind. But then YouTube is just the internet for a lot of people, so I guess it made sense. Ultimately, it made sense. Listen to the grain podcast on the YouTubes. All that grain we were interviewing. So how does it feel to be turned into bread? Glad you liked it, though. That's one thing we didn't ask him, is how do you feel about people calling you grain all the time? Don't expect that would have been a great direction for the interview, but might have vindicated a few people who've noticed that happening a lot. Mythical Sausage, you were waiting for that question. Do you think there will ever be a texture of diorite that Iskall approves? He likes the new polished diorite, doesn't he? I feel like the current diorite is acceptable, but I don't think he'll use it. I think it's too much of a... I don't know, it's too much of an in-joke for his community now that he would ever accept that diorite was good, unless he wanted to just completely do away with that whole character trait that he's sort of developed for himself. I feel like after you've spent this long hating on diorite, your community has taken the joke and run with it, and now everybody makes jokes at your expense that relate to diorite being involved. I feel like you can't really escape that now. Like, it's got too big. It's got bigger than you. It is. Tim Berners-Lee was on BBC News saying it's all going downhill. Said the internet is on a downward slope, is what he said, I believe, and he's yeah, basically, yeah. There were various other like interviews and stuff he did, and there were other quotes from maybe the same interview or maybe a different interview that was like, you know, I really wanted the internet to be an open and free thing, and people should stop thinking about how to make money with it. And on the one hand, yeah. On the other hand, like, the internet is just a kind of facsimile of real life in a way, and so people are going to find ways to make money out of basically anything. If the system was different, they would find ways to make money from a different system. I mean, he's facilitated the exchange of information at incredibly high speeds, yeah. And we've just taken that and done everything we can with it, basically. Including this. What you're watching right now is all thanks to Tim Berners-Lee. Except Minecraft. He didn't make Minecraft. Careful, the durability. It's fine. It's got like 100 left. Don't worry, guys. I got the numbers. We ain't going to break an axe on Choppin Tuesday. You guys have no faith in me. Am I playing in version 1.13.2 because you noticed in one of your survival guide videos that you name tagged a villager just by clicking on it? How did you do that? You hold down shift, you name tag them. A lot of the time, holding down shift to sneak will prevent you from interacting with a GUI if the thing you're clicking on has one. Example. I'll give you an example because I'm nice like that and because I need to wait for the acacia leaves to despawn. Let's go to the furnace. Let's go to the furnace. If I hold down shift and right-click on that, it does nothing. If I take off shift and right-click on it, it opens a furnace. Same happens with villagers and name tags. It didn't used to happen that way, but it happens now, which is good. It was a bug for a while that you couldn't name tag villagers because you would always open their GUI, because they were like mobs that you interacted with instead of blocks. That is now fixed. If it always opens the trading GUI for you, then you're probably playing a different version. Sneak and right-click with a name tag. That's all you need to do. If you're playing on a multiplayer server, you can actually get somebody else to trade with them, and two people can't have the same trading GUI open at once. So if somebody is already talking to the villager, then you can name tag them on the sly without having to crouch. But that's an exception that only works on multiplayer servers. Get the abacus, we need to math this durability. Well, I have Unbreaking 3, which should, in theory, mean that we can mine, like, 3 blocks for every durability that we lose. So, in theory, I have, like, 300 more logs I can chop if I want to. Obviously, that's in theory. In practice, it doesn't always work that way. I knew there was a log waiting up here. You cannot escape my wrath on Choppin Tuesday. I'll jump up and down for you if I have to. There we go. Yoink. And now the rest of this kerfuffle can despawn. And we will get back to growing acacia. Getting the clip button ready for when the axe actually breaks. That's when the stream will end. Bam! No, I think we will be more careful than that. I honestly don't know if I'm going to get another 300 blocks out of this. Running out of bone meal now as well. I'm trapped. Trapped in a tree. Oh, we're in mouse mode now. Can I? Yep, I can do that. Haha. So much bone meal though. Mission Impossible theme plays, right? Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is bone meal these last few acacia trees. While dressed as a mouse. Oh. Accidentally stripped that one. These stray little blocks. Always hiding behind leaves as well. We've also got a backup axe. We could always use the mushroom chopper if we wanted to, so. Still chopping, still chopping. That's the whole point of Choppin Tuesday. I don't know if you got the memo. Well, the trees start chopping and they don't stop chopping and they don't stop chopping and they don't stop chopping and they... They sang that on the Longest John stream once. But they started with the full, like, Smash Mouth song, and then it was like, the years start coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, and it just went on for about 2 minutes. I like that there's this one leaf block in the middle there, like, the rebel. It's been hiding in there the entire time. Still got a little sliver of red left on the axe. It still works. I think we're going to be on a durability of 82. 71, okay. So we could do maybe one more batch of acacia like that. Not bad, though. Not bad. There's All-Star in the style of Schoenberg. It's just like a bunch of clicks and whistles. Oscar, hello, welcome along. Welcome to today's stream where we are chopping. Now that Cloud9 is sponsored by BMW, what car company is going to sponsor this stream? No car companies. M&M's. Still holding out for that M&M's sponsorship. Mars Corporation, hook us up. Probably not a good thing to be sponsored by, to be perfectly honest. I'm fairly certain I wouldn't be allowed to be sponsored by it, because then technically I'd be in a position where I could be promoting unhealthy foods to minors. And that's not allowed under British advertising law. There's some weird, like, I mean, probably not weird, probably actually quite sensible regulations in place about who you can do sponsorships with and stuff. For YouTube people in particular. Like, I think there are a couple of people who made videos for Oreo, and they just, if they're British YouTubers, they're not allowed to do that. Because advertising law prevents them from, if they are specifically producing things like their videos are targeted at young people, then it's against British advertising regulations, because you're advertising the consumption of an unhealthy food. And the Slow-Mo guys did that video about Oreos, but that's fine because they're in America. The video wasn't technically about Oreos, it was sponsored by Oreos, but still. The rule still stands. Get back to the 70s and have your videos sponsored by cigarettes. Yes, this stream brought to you by Lucky Strike. You're never alone with a strand, or whatever the cigarette advert used to be. I don't think I could ever advertise cigarettes. It's just something that makes absolutely no sense to me. Grapes. Be sponsored by grapes. I will absolutely be sponsored by grapes. It's funny as well, because the grapes that we get from Sainsbury's, when we get them, you know, on the packet, it will tell you like what country it comes from and the company that's picked them, what variety of grapes they are. I'm pretty sure it is just a South African place called The Grape Company.
Really?
Yeah. There's like a variety of different varieties that they get. But it's always like flame red grapes from The Grape Co. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna sell grapes, you may as well call yourself that. Space tea.
A NASA sponsorship.
A NASA sponsorship, can you imagine? Alright. 56 durability left on the axe. Will I make it through this batch of trees? Of course I will. Don't have 56 blocks left to chop. The problem with that is that it's a design that already exists, and I can't remember where I got it from, otherwise I would try and seek out more of them. 53, okay. 53. I can't hear certain numbers without, like, immediately film references popping to mind. 53 is one of them. Listed her age as 55. That's the second Hot Fuzz reference on this stream. There's probably been more, I just make them subconsciously at this point. Alright, I think that's basically all of the logs from here, and Look at that. 50 durability left of 1,500. I don't think that was fully repaired at the start of the stream, but we need to go and fully repair it now. Otherwise, twill break. And we wouldn't want that to happen. Would we? An invisible mug is just a glass. Controversial. Opinions happening in the chat right now. All right, folks. I think we're probably going to wrap up here and find somebody to raid. Do 5 people want to subscribe to me so I can end this stream with 100 subscribers? I kid, of course. Thank you guys so much for the support today. You guys have been fantastic. And I know I say that a lot, but I always mean it. You guys are the absolute best. Let's see who is out there on Twitch who we can drop a raid on. Oh, yeah, that Twitch Prime sub, though. Let's see who we have. We have Doc M, we have Harvester, we have Endia streaming Final Fantasy. Oh my goodness. Degenerate with the tier 1 sub. I was joking. 96, 4 subs away from 100. I cannot believe it. Thank you guys so much. Get some pixel hype in the chat. Thank you so much for the last minute sub. Got him. I appreciate that a great deal. So yeah, Doc M is streaming, Harvester is streaming. We may as well raid Harvester. She's on the Cactus Isle, which is a vanilla survival world or server or something like that. And we will drop a raid on Harvester. I can type her URL. There we go. It says the stream is intended for mature audiences, but I think that's mainly just to cover your tracks here and there. Don't forget to use the Pixel Hype emotes and the hashtag PixelRaid to show some love over on Harvester's stream. Enjoy yourselves there, guys. Have fun watching some more Minecraft. I'll be back on Thursday for something that is probably not going to be Choppin. And I'll see you guys then. Take care. Bye for now.